to dominate. Oh, lights go down, the street lights up. FPS fire, horror creeping up. Multiplayer vibes, we rolling deep. Awesome friends, no time for sleep. Welcome to the mayor's game, where the shots are sharp and the thrills insane. Squads on deck, we never play tame. Mr. Mayor's live, remember the name. Jump scares, clutch plays, chaos reigns. Laughs and legends in every frame. From haunted halls to battle zones, we own the night, the streams are thrown. One shot, one scream, one epic win. You never know what world you're in, but with Mr. Mayor, it's always lit. So hit that follow, don't you quit. Don't you quit. Welcome to the mayor's game, where the squad's too strong and the vibe's untamed. FPS heat, horror in the frame. Mr. Mayor's live, let's light that flame! Step into the shadows. The mayor awaits. Lock in, squad up. It's time to dominate. Oh, lights go down, the street lights up. FPS fire, horror creeping up. Multiplayer vibes, we rolling deep. Awesome friends, no time for sleep. Welcome to the mayor's game, where the shots are sharp and the thrills insane. Squads on deck, we never play tame. Mr. Mayor's live, remember the name.
Hey, welcome in. Welcome in. How you doing, Imagine? I'm trying to. It's a little too loud. How you doing? How you doing? You streaming Fortnite? I think I am. It seems like I don't know. From what I can see, it looks like Sarah's playing alone, so I might jump in a couple of games with her and see how the night goes. If I stream for half an hour, it's good. If I stream for 2, then even better. Good. Was thinking about streaming for a half hour before Brain Rot event. Okay. Well, what were you thinking? Maybe we can all get in for a few games. And by the way, appreciate you coming in. Let's go. Let's go. I wanted to try some things out. I don't know how the music. Not that I want to play. It's I don't know if she wants to play. I don't know. It looks like she's just sitting in the lobby alone. So I don't know. I looked at the clock. The clock. I'm so tired right now. And I wanted to see how my settings would hold. And look, she's back. I hear her, but she doesn't know I'm here. Let me mute this. I had no plans to play with anybody, if you're wondering. I really just wanted to make sure that my stream was going to hold up playing Fort. I've messed around enough with so many settings. So I'm going to let it load up now and see how it goes. Everything looks good. I want to add some music. And if you hop on, we can do this. Miss Karina, welcome in. Welcome in. How are you? How are you doing? Long time no see. I'm just loading up my game and I hope you guys aren't getting any glitters or jitters or whatever you want to call them. I have no idea if anything's working. If you guys want to check in, feel free. You can do it by chat or you can do it by the channel point. Got a little cold, but I'm okay. I'm all right. I'm completely tired today. But I did say I was going to get on. I did hit a goal that I wanted to achieve. So I made my 500. Yes. And then here we are. Every time I get on, I have no idea what I'm doing. So bear with me. Bear with me. Live scene. This is where I want to be, right? There you go. I hope the gameplay is good. I got so many tabs open right now. I think I should close a few. So let me get this out of the way and then I'll get this one out of the way. Then I don't know. I got this thing going. I don't know if it's going to work. So it says test effects. Okay. Well, can't test anything right now. I hope you guys can see me all right. I hope everything is looking smooth. Hopefully the music is not going to be too loud. I want to put on music. I just want to have some background music. Let me get all over on this here and I think all that works now. Right on. Let me try this. Right on. Everything works. Looks good. Looking good. Looking good. Can you guys hear the music all right? I don't want it too loud, but I know every time I talk, it gets a little bit quiet. I have no idea what's going on here. My sources are good. My games are good. No worries. No worries. It's great to see you. Are you guys up for any games tonight there? Or what's going on, Miss Karina? You guys usually play Friday night, right? Your girly pop Fridays? Is that happening? Sarah! Welcome in. So I'm here. I'm inviting you. All right, invite me. I hope it works. Let me know, guys, if the stream is no good. That's all I can say. Let me know if it's no good.
Wait a minute, wait a minute.
Hello.
Hello.
I
I
gotta
was trying
turn.
to say get your button.
I gotta turn you down a little bit. You're a little bit loud here.
Do you want to go to your server? Because I invited you to mine.
I don't know what's the difference.
Well, you'll have better ping in your one,
Oh,
so
okay.
it'll benefit you more.
Okay, we can do that. Sure. Stream
Or
is always
wait.
A1. Thank you.
I don't know if this will work. Will it work? Will we go into your server if I promote you?
I have been removed from the party. Am I supposed to invite her? There. I never know how to invite anybody. I hope my stream is always A1. I appreciate that you're giving me some feedback here.
I'm so sorry, I kicked you by accident.
Yeah, no worries. No
My
worries.
finger's too quick.
All right. I guess we're doing this. Imagine if you're out there and if you're thinking of hopping on, feel free. Let me know. Maybe everybody's gonna get some games in together. Everybody? Who knows? How you doing, Sarah?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Not bad. Not bad. I saw you were playing with somebody else earlier. What happened? What's going on?
He left. He said he was going to speak to his girlfriend and he'll be back in like 30 minutes.
Oh.
But we only played like one blitz. And
Oh,
it was like 4 minutes.
I see.
Oh, you're playing that Star Savior again.
No, I was playing
No,
Phasmophobia.
yeah, but man, I'm streaming as well, so
Yeah, so am I.
sorry.
Oh my, all good. Oh, you're
I
talking to
think
your
you were
stream.
playing Phasmophobia. I can see on Discord.
Yeah, I had it open and I was playing that.
Did you get scared?
No, why would I do that?
No?
I don't get scared.
Oh, you didn't stream it?
Getting ready to boot up stream. Let's go. Let's go.
That would have been class.
No, I didn't stream it. How do we
I
do
didn't.
this shared chat thing? Do you know?
Oh, you want to do it? Oh, I don't know if it'll work from Discord. Hold on.
No, not Discord. Let me
Do you
open
want
you
to
up
do
here.
a shared chat?
Yeah, let
Yeah,
me.
but your one didn't work, so.
I know, but I have to close your stream up here. And then hold on, let me find you here. I don't know if it's gonna work. We'll see. I haven't done it, so I don't know.
You've never done the shared. It tells you what it is now.
No, I did it a long time ago, but a long time ago, I don't remember.
Okay, let me see if there is a Discord option.
What is it? Invite guests or something?
I'm doing it now.
Yeah, what if I knock? What does that do?
What if you what?
It says knocking.
What's that?
I don't know. No idea.
Okay, so go on to Discord.
No, not on Discord.
Yeah, I sent you the link on Discord.
Oh.
Yeah, but I'm guessing you have that on your PC, right?
Yeah, but I don't have my.
Yeah, so click on that.
I don't have my PC open. Wait, let me try. Let me see something.
What are you playing on then?
I'm playing on my PC, but hold on. I might have to add you first. Here, join. I hear myself. There you go.
Wait, what? Add me on what?
I don't know. It says it's waiting for the host. Hold on, I might have to close this. Joining. You're all ready to go. The host will let you in when they're ready. Is that how that works?
What?
Okay, hold on. Let me open
Have
Discord.
you not got Twitch on your phone? And Discord on your phone?
I do, but does that add
Yeah,
the...
do it on the phone and not the PC. Open it on your phone.
No, I'm gonna open
Because
it on...
you're...
Here, join session. Oh, wait.
Hi, Kitty.
There. It didn't work, did it?
So...
No, it didn't work. You know how it is. We're always playing around testing here. Good.
yeah, I think you'll need to do it on your phone. Oh, wait.
Here,
Hold on.
join session. There.
You're already in a collaboration. Wait, so you're already in it? Are you in it?
If notification will be sent.
Yeah, it's done.
Okay,
It worked.
it worked.
Yeah, you're there. I can see you.
Okay, now it shows shared chat. Okay, got
Yeah,
it. Okay,
it's
there.
working. What
There
pie are
you
you
go.
eating, Amy? Sorry, it was just a chat from...
So that's how I have to do it all the time with you. Then I have to open up my Discord.
Yeah, because it just depends what I send it to you on.
Yeah, I see. It's cool though. Okay.
Ooh, minced onion.
Oh, and then now I can see everybody. Nice. All right. No, I'm good. All right. So now let me test something here. Since we're on this, we're gonna test my effects.
Uh-huh.
Okay, that works. All right, let's go. Pamper, welcome, welcome. I know you're not here, but you're in Sarah's stream. How you doing? I need to get used to this because I see your little face on my chat, so I gotta make sure and remember that it's not mine, it's yours. And I apologize apologize for all the nonsense that's going on in my chat. When you see all those auto messages, I might be selling something, so you never know.
Oh yeah, the
Yes. Yes. So I say I might be selling something. I don't know. We'll see.
Wait, you don't? Can you not pick?
Yeah, you can pick.
Or like you don't know what you're selling?
I don't know. It might pop up. If it pops up. You know?
Yeah, we do it on Messenger because it didn't work. What was it? Snapchat didn't work. Or it was something that didn't work.
Something. I don't know.
Wait, but I'm pretty sure it didn't work on Discord with you. You know.
I can't remember. All right. I think everything is good on my end. I got your chat open here so that I can.
So when I went on your stream, you were a little bit laggy.
I was a little bit laggy on my stream. Okay.
Yeah, at the start when it was just you.
Yeah, because I was opening things up. I don't know. Like I'm trying to fix it. Yeah. Lately my PC is not doing very good. I gotta close Discord. Takes too much of my... But it's weird because I can keep it open and chat,
Hmm.
But then when I'm just leaving it like on idle, it doesn't work. I don't know why. Okay, so this is good now. I'm alright.
Ah, do you need to put the location in? I forgot. I thought I'd done it automatically.
Location for what?
You're checking.
Yeah,
no,
you gotta.
it says a check-in for.
It's check-in space, your location, and then it puts you on the globe on my other screen. On this screen. And that's like glitchy as. Yeah, it should be there. It should go. But it takes a minute. And I even have the channel points, but it's all good. No biggie. I guess we can play. We can go for a few rounds or more. Depends on how your night is.
A few rounds.
A few
I'll
rounds,
probably be
yeah.
up all night. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, are you want? What you want to play?
Oh, you're on Blitz,
I'm
right?
on Blitz.
Well,
You
we can
wanna
do
play Blitz?
regular. Yeah, we can do regular.
You want to? Yeah.
Yeah, we can do regular.
You just want your car.
What car?
That's what you want. Your
Car?
fancy pink car.
No, I haven't even driven it in the last.
Uh,
As long as the stream is good, I'm happy. Everything is going well. Like I said, I don't know how long I'm gonna be on tonight. Might the stream might end early. Who knows? But
well, how
Well-
early is your early?
no, the games are not gonna end. The stream might end.
Oh, okay, good. That's good.
I technically only wanted to get on because I wanted to make sure that Fortnite would work on my stream. So I wasn't expecting anybody or anyone to show up, and then I don't know how you see me get on so quick. So
I get notifications.
yeah, but like not a lot of people check them right away, and press that button.
I don't usually, but it popped up on my phone when I was on the chat, and I was like, "Oh,
Yeah, I saw you. You were sitting in the lobby, so gave me that idea just to press it.
oh!" I needed to go get something. You got
I got what?
What do you mean a jelly pot?
What?
A jelly pot or a drink, you mean?
Look, my head is huge. I thought this was gone.
Yeah, like. Wait, Cushion. See, when you played, did you play a battle royale or did you play a blitz?
And the map feels very small.
I changed it.
Embrace nothing. Can I
Wait, did I not change it?
I don't know. Can we hop back out to the lobby for a minute?
Yeah. Hey, that's perfect because I need to go pee.
Yeah, how do I get back out here?
Go
does it say I'm
press
not your friend,
options.
Sarah?
Yeah,
I-
return to the lobby.
I don't know.
Sean, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
All of a sudden, you just shot out an invite. I'm like, all right,
Yeah. I saw your little notifications.
nice,
You getting on?
nice.
I should get on there and lurk while I'm here, huh?
I suppose that'd be a good idea too, right?
Yeah.
So Sarah's going to the bathroom. You're here. I'm here. Hopefully we
There
can
you
get
go.
hopefully we can get a
Nah.
fourth if she shows.
Is she? Who are you talking about? Are you talking about who I think you're talking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was still on Blitz. I probably didn't change that. But I'm going to go to the toilet. I'll be back in a minute.
Yeah, no worries. I can mess around with this and look at my thing for a minute. So how you been? How's your night?
Pretty good, man.
Oh, that's good.
Chill. I went and saw kid's great grandma.
Oh, nice.
Hung out with her for a little bit. She's a sweet lady, man. I'm glad I know her.
Oh, it's good. We're sharing chat and I'm live, by the way, so you're aware. But
Yeah.
doesn't matter how we speak. Everything is set.
I'm still not gonna.
You never know, but you know, just heads up.
Yeah.
I'm trying to looking at your thing. Hey, Toba, welcome in. How you doing, buddy? How you doing, Toba? I'm just like reading you up here and then I'm seeing you over here. I've never done this shared chat thing in a long time, so I'm trying to see if I can change up the chat appearance. I just don't know if how to do it. It's a little confusing on seeing who's chatting where. Like I see the faces, but I'm trying to set it that it's just me. I think you can do that, but I'm not sure. I think you got to go into like the
Vince is on stage
your
2,
thing. I don't know.
Cool.
which means he's gonna beat the game when he beats stage 2.
How
Yes, I can.
we'll try here.
Yeah, you can.
Audio nameplate. Nameplates. No, not nameplates. Performance? No. I have no idea. I don't think it works. You do it all the time, Toba. How do you do it? Here, chat appearance. Readable. Emote celebrations. Expands. No, that's not it. Pop-up chat. Scroll only chat, my preference. No idea.
When I try to invite Queen, it says failed to send invite. Like what?
Pablo, how's it going, buddy? I have my creator dashboard open and that's what I use for shared chat. Apparently mine, Toba, it's on like pop out because I got invited. So I don't know. I ignored my chat in OBS. Oh, okay. So maybe that's if I open my dashboard then. But even then, my dashboard doesn't show. Does it show just me? Oh, there you go. Okay, so I have to open it in like that then. But it's sort of the same. Looks the same. Yeah, the dashboard shows both. But it's not, it's the other person that I'm sharing chat with is in a darker font and mine is more bright. But when I have the chat open here in OBS, both, I don't know if you could say it, it's bright. But I don't know.
Hello.
Hello, we're here. Sorry, Sean, I had you on mute.
You got me on mute?
Wait, do you not get trios?
Yeah, I had you on mute.
Yeah, you just gotta
it said
click this button right here.
Yeah, but here,
There we go.
here, party invite sent. How come I could send it to her? I don't know. Hopefully she comes. We'll see.
She started a whole other game. It says 99 left. She don't love us. I don't know what her deal is.
Let's go, Toba. Watch streak. 3 stream streak. Have I gone on 3 times already? That's crazy. That's awesome. Thanks so much. I don't usually get stream streaks on my channel, but that's cool to know. Yeah. I don't know if she's coming there, Sean.
Yeah, me either, man. I don't know.
It's up to you. If you want to
She's-
start, we can start.
Yeah, I'm game.
Like, she was in here earlier. I don't know where. And then she said she was going to load up, but I don't know. She comes, I guess.
Where's the sidekick, Sean?
You know, I only have that banana dog, and what's the other one? The little ice creature. I have him, but I haven't like unlocked him.
What, the one that Mayor's got?
Yeah,
You can-
Oh,
like I haven't
Yeah,
done
he
the edit on him
cool.
or whatever.
Mine is a free one.
I prefer Groot though.
I was
I think
I
he's
was
so
tempted
cute.
to get Towley, but I don't know. I guess I'm just holding out for the right minion.
Pablo.
All right, let's go. Let's see. Let's try to get some wins.
Oh, it was on Blitz.
What's on Blitz?
The April Fool's one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I think Neil, did you not get it as well just then? I think Neil
Alright.
got it, and then
I got what?
Christian got it as well. The big head again.
Well, I had it here
Oh,
before
was
Sean.
that Bama? It
Before
might be
Sean
Bama.
invited me, I had it.
Oh, no, yeah, because you didn't even play a game. It must have been, I think it was Bama.
Yeah, I don't know. I had to turn you guys
Oh.
down.
What, are we too loud?
No, you guys were all like reaching the red in my stream.
That's
Everyone's-
crazy, mate.
Everyone's probably getting all deaf. They're like, "What's going on?" Everyone's shouting over there.
That's- Sorry, I'm a loud person.
No worries.
You know I'm loud.
Look, you're driving again, Sarah.
Sarah's driving. Let's go. Sarah's driving.
But I'm
Going
against
away.
the rings.
Look at
You want
this.
that free experience?
No,
None of you are getting it.
the rings are over there.
Does the whole team get it? Because I fudged up.
Well, we get 250
I've watched-
apiece. I think you get 2,500 when you do it.
Everyone on the bus is wondering what's going on.
Yep.
Yeah, we're not making that.
Look, nobody else is okay.
Sorry, guys.
Where are we going though?
Going there. That's where I'm
Okay.
going, I think.
Yeah, sure. I'll go with you.
Amy, that's weird because I
Sarah's
bought
not.
Let's go.
Let's just
Boba.
follow Sarah Mary.
and Regis.
She's in her own game.
Wait, what? I was still
Nothing, we got
talking to
you.
my chat.
Who? Yeah. Yeah.
Wait,
Oh,
no,
jeez.
wait, I'm with you.
Sarah's taking us-
Mirror's on
yeah.
the zone.
Oh, she's over there. You guys are over there.
Yeah.
I was following
Oh,
the.
shit. Now I'm in
uh,
between. I don't know what to do.
I was following the ping.
Okay, all right,
Wait,
all
you're
right.
in
I'm with Mayor. At least I'm with Mayor. Hey, what's that gold
Nah.
fishing spot? Have you done those yet?
No, I have not.
No.
Check it out. I hope nobody shoots
Who
me.
fished in this? Oh my goodness. Is that like a whole team?
There's a whole treasure chest in there.
All right, let's see. Oh, you can fish for a treasure chest?
Yeah,
That's cool.
it had a fish in there.
You have a gun?
Oh, it's a sonar fish. That's cool. All right, let's go save Sarah.
I don't need saving. I'm taking out a team here.
You like those tree leaves that stopped us in our tracks?
Completely, right? I was just like, what's happening? Oh, I didn't even get to shoot him.
Did take out a team. They were bots. No, just kidding.
They were bots.
Nice.
With my shit, they were definitely bots.
Oh, a bunch of cubes. How do we get them?
But I don't. What do you do with them again?
I don't know what we do with them.
Somebody wants to kill Mayor.
Oh,
78.
It's always Mayo.
save me. He's over here.
Excuse me.
Anybody who comes in here and wants to see what's going on, best gameplay is happening.
It's back this way. It's up here.
Oh yeah, I'm just looting.
Yeah, I'm just having fun too.
Oh, Pokemon guys.
I put you guys on mute every so often. That's not my fault. Sorry.
What have you still got that? What's that called?
Who, me?
Wait, why are you putting us on mute?
No, if I do happen to put you on mute, I apologize.
Because of your pedal.
Yeah, my pedal.
Like your pedal.
Yes. I got foot actions.
Entirely not like what you said.
Yeah. Wait, what? No, I'm actually on about a pedal.
Yeah, no, I get it, but that's not what that sounds like. I get what you're saying, but
What does a pedal sound like?
I don't want to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it. Just.
Does it not sound like she's saying pedo? Like,
Yeah, she is.
okay.
You
see?
can't say that.
Yeah, what? I said pedal. You just said it.
Pedal.
Just saying pedal. I was saying
Look.
pedal with your accent. That's all that happened. I wasn't saying
Oh
a bad word.
no.
I have no idea where anybody went.
I don't know where you guys went.
We're sitting in a car.
All right, I guess I'll.
Oh, no
head
one
toward
caught the
you guys.
Pokemon. This is going to be another night. I can't remember the last time I caught a Pokemon in my own stream. It's ridiculous.
So then,
It's
Sarah,
been like 4 or 5 days.
how do I end the share chat? Do I just
Oh wait, we're missing Sean.
close the window?
You want to end it?
No, if I do, how do I do it? Just close the window?
I don't know because you're on PC. Wait, I don't know how to.
I don't
do
know.
it. I don't know.
I don't know.
There's a bad guy right there.
I've
Just hit him for
always
120.
ended the share chat with pushing when we've come off. So it's like the stream
Oh,
goes
we
off
got
as well.
there are people coming.
There are people coming. It's okay.
Noise.
Where's your friend?
I don't know. He's here. He's on the roof.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's that horrible gun I don't like. I cannot aim with that.
I'm turning around. Fun playing with you.
Where is he? He's up here. Oh,
That's a whole other team.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So I don't know how to actually like end it. I don't know, man. That you need to look up.
where'd he go?
I'm shielding up. They killed Sarah. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
Get revenge.
This whole time they didn't even get me once. What's happening? This is my first game and I can't see.
115 flesh. You got him.
Got him.
All right.
Okay,
Wait, how can you see?
Sarah, we went through this already.
Oh,
My eyes are no good.
do you need glasses?
No, it's just that time of night.
Oh.
I need it.
Okay, now
Tired or?
Yeah, I'm just tired. I'm just tired.
you got tired eyes.
I know by that chuckle that you're.
No, I haven't drank it. I didn't drink anything tonight yet.
Oh, okay.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Ooh, dynamite. I like dynamite.
Where's the van? Here you go. Here.
Hey, thanks, guys.
We're just getting started, right?
That's right.
Okay, thank you, Cushion. Have fun with TikTok. What, you
If-
going live?
Oh, I almost dropped my knife.
If anybody is joining me in my stream and you don't want to hear the music, just mute
Oh,
me.
you got music on.
Okay, I got footprints,
Yeah,
guys. Footprints
I
on
think
me.
so.
Footprints on me. I'm not muted. You guys hear me?
I hear you
Not for
coming.
long.
I'm coming.
Down one of them.
I'm
Oh
a
shit.
goblin.
Oh shit. Okay, down two of them. Down three of them.
I try to help this time.
You did. I saw
I
you.
did.
You shot somebody.
I didn't just heal up.
Who knows? Yeah, that's right. He didn't jump in front of me and start using a med kit.
Actually, if you go back and see my clip on that, I didn't just use. I fell into the fight.
But more people.
What is that? Oh, my
hope they like
headphones are the wrong
dynamite.
way again. Hold on.
Oh, I'm chasing him.
Oh, there's more than one.
Oh, wait, I can put my other ones on.
29, 58.
Ah, my bad aim.
We got that one down. This guy wants some.
I found my other headphones.
Get off my friend. Alright, now we gotta get in. 26, 80.
Come on. Taking so long to load. What is happening?
Which gun are you using?
Nemesis. Such a bad gun.
I can't use it.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
The Nemesis AR?
Yeah. I like the combat one you said before. Here, Sarah.
Wait, do I not have that?
Here.
Oh,
just-
wait, no, not the Nemesis.
I just gave you three little things.
Thank you.
I don't know.
Is it maybe
I'll-
the Spitfire or something? That
I don't know.
reeks.
There was one that was no
Is that
good.
only in Blitz?
I have no idea, but
Oh, well. have fun.
Thunderbolt. Who's having fun where? What's going on? Just
Huh?
scrolling the FIP. I don't go into people's lives. I don't usually go into people's lives either.
My mic is muted and I'm bitching and moaning. Hey, Sarah, drink your small pots and I'll splash us.
That is a good idea.
Mary, come here real quick, buddy.
Where are you? What are we doing?
I'm over here.
Oh, I had one of those too.
Some splashed. I'm gonna... I like it. Thank you. Alright, there you go.
Thank you. I'm trying to find I don't know. Oh, I didn't change my car.
What the hell was that Mario noise just then?
That was her
Is
hiccup.
that a hiccup?
That was my hiccup.
That's the same sound he makes when he jumps on a turtle.
I'm just waking people up. Can you guys hear that if you're in my stream?
Yes. I could hear it. with
How
my
can
phone.
we hear it?
Is it too loud?
Yeah, but how can we hear that?
What do you mean? It's for you to hear.
Horn.
How can me and Sean hear that?
Is it like a soundboard?
Yeah. Oh, you guys can hear it in the game now?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, we can.
That's why she's like, how can we hear it? And I'm like, I don't know. Are you on my stream?
There's only 6 players left.
Well, I've got it all turned
There's
down.
only 3 people left.
No, there's only 3 people left because we're the
Yeah,
3.
yeah, and
Let's go.
and there's 3 squads, so one of those is an incomplete squad.
Sure, pistol time.
Actually, both of them would have to be if there's 3 people left in 2 squads.
Where am I going?
So let's go to that supply
Well, it
drop
doesn't
right there.
tell
and go
you
look
how
down.
many squads were left now. Does it?
Yeah, it does.
Does it?
Yeah, now there's 5 people in 2 squads. So
Where's the supply drop? It's here
Oh.
somewhere.
3 versus 2.
I think it's here. We have to get out. It's up here.
Only 3 people left and such a big map.
Dude, damn
Such
it,
a...
America, stand.
That's crazy.
Oh,
All right. Well, I threw splashes and it just.
I'm good. I got it. I believe you. I got it.
Where is
Here's
it?
There's another pot here if you need it. Or you guys are full.
Oh, I found it.
Okay, I'll just take it then.
Yeah.
That was absolutely crap. What was
What?
that?
There's dynamite in there. The dynamite is not crap. And there's a self revive. Sarah,
What?
I think
Will
you
I
should
take
pick
it?
that up.
I think I should because I die first.
Well,
Oh, take it. Take it.
look, there's a fat
Yeah.
pot for Sarah
Yeah.
right there too.
Yeah, Sarah, take a pot.
Look at her over there, just ignoring
Uh,
it.
I'm taking these bullets.
I'm
Thanks.
looting.
I needed the bullets.
Woman, you just sat there and smacked the ceiling for 2 whole minutes.
Oh,
You're not. There's nothing looting about that. Hey, a pizza.
yes, pizza.
She's still ignoring that fat pot. There's a fat pot right there.
Where? Thank you. I'll save the pizza.
Yeah. I just look
No.
on a gunfire.
Careful.
Oh, there's somebody flying right over there. Now we know where you are.
Where? I didn't see.
Yeah. There was somebody flying.
Good night, Amy. I hope you have a good sleep.
Somebody got
We
banned in my
actually
chat.
As
just-
well.
Oh, I'm an
Sarah,
idiot. Can I take this?
Have a good night, Pamper. Thank you for coming. I know.
She said,
Hello. It was me you were looking for, right?
It was me before. You're gonna have to grab the pizza, guys. We
Can you hear
gotta
that too?
for it. No, I just repeated what you said.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say what's going on. You guys can hear everything that's going on.
No, we can't hear your music.
Okay. Well, the music.
Just the horn.
Yeah. I can barely hear my own music too. I turn my music down really low, so only the people watching me can hear it.
is there-
Wait, if there's 2 teams,
that?
how is there 5 people left? I don't get
because
it.
their team, there's only 2 people on their group.
How did someone die?
I don't know.
Bullets. Don't be funny.
They shot each other.
I'm gonna go to the top of this.
Well, that
never
makes
mind.
no
I'm gonna go to the
sense.
circle with you guys. This Sarah, if one of their teammates died, there's 2 people versus ours 3.
Yeah, but it's always
Somebody
it's
just shot
been
at
like
me.
that since it was 6. Right?
Yeah,
they're
it
up
would be.
there. Yeah, so that makes no sense.
Let's go get this DDD.
Are we go?
And
They're
apparently
in the
they're behind us.
signal tower. They're like right up.
Yeah, I just hit that guy for 60.
I don't want to peek that because my eyesight's no great.
Where is he? Oh, he's up there.
He's flying in.
Oh, what's happening? Oh, he got me down. He's up there.
Oh, you just got down, homeboy.
That's why I didn't want to peek it.
Yeah, but that wasn't the guy I was shooting. Wait, I'm going over here.
Oh.
Throw me down. Throw me down.
I'm throwing you.
There you go.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm
shoot
lagging
this
out,
is-
guys. I'm gonna die because I'm
Uh-oh.
fucking retarded. And my internet's stupid.
They're gonna need to
They're
run.
coming. Yeah, you suck. He's got
I
a
just threw
self-revive.
that. Oh my god.
There we
Oh,
go.
nice.
I threw a fucking splash at the other guy.
Let's go. Let's go. Me and my dance. You guys want to go back to the lobby, or are we ready up, or what's going on?
I just readied up, but it's not working again.
Okay, I'll go.
She
We'll go back
messaged
to the
me.
lobby then.
She's streaming right now. What? I didn't see her on stream.
Sadie, welcome in. Welcome in. Hello, Mayor. Have you tabbed? Thank you. I appreciate you. I know you're out on vacation. I hope you're having a great time out there. Hope you're doing well. Oh, I'm so tired.
It's Friday.
Welcome, welcome.
Okay. All right. I'm getting a little irritated. I'm gonna.
What's
W-
wrong?
Not
Why?
on my phone anymore.
What's happening? What's happening?
She sent me a message and said she may as well be may have well been replaced, but like I invited you to the game as soon as I hopped on. Like
So did I.
that's not how that works.
No,
And I guess she said she's streaming right now. I don't see any streams.
I don't know. I know she's still in my chat, I think.
Well, it's kind of heartbreaking. I mean,
I don't see her online though.
I don't know.
She's logged off,
I don't
but I don't know. It's all good. I invite it, you invite it. We can only do what we can, right? So
I guess.
take it, go for another game. We go for another game.
I don't know, dude. The whole thing's weird to me. I don't get it.
All good. Well, look at that. At least the first game we had, we won, right?
Yeah.
So there's a win there.
One dub.
I heard that you can't get any more crowns in Blitz. Is that true? Do you know?
What is that? Because you get the wings.
I have no idea. I have no idea. But I kept hearing that people were hoarding them.
Wings.
Okay.
Yeah, no, they stopped. What was it? Because people were going into Blitz and they were getting all the victory crowns, and then they were going into Battle Royale and then boasting about how many crowns they had from that.
Oh, really? Like for me, if I get a crown, I get a crown, but I wouldn't be. I don't know.
Yeah, because there was so many people that I played with, and then they're like, "I got this all from Battle Royale," and I was like, "No, you didn't. Did you?"
Hmm.
I'm like, "No."
Where are we going, Sean?
I didn't even play Blitz.
Oh, I don't know. Let me pick here. 4 fields, right over there.
Where are we going? There?
Purple marker.
Oh, all the way over there.
Yeah.
We can make it. I can't get that emote out of my head.
Oh, I didn't make it.
Oh, my phone died.
What does that mean? Does that mean our chat is finished?
That means that I don't know if no, because the stream's not off. I don't know if it's gonna cut out, but you're gonna have to reply to my chat as well. If anyone
Oh.
else.
Oh. The,
Sounds to me like she's saying she's gonna put you to work.
Right? That's what it sounded like.
From the
Mia's
outsider's
not
perspective.
bothered with that anyway. My phone died.
You're gonna have to.
Check me.
I like that. Sounds like she's gonna put you to work. Nice.
Never.
I found a lawnmower. I couldn't drive it.
I know it pisses me
No,
off.
but you
I've
can
seen those
drive
too.
the buggies. Are we in that place?
Yeah.
Drive the buggies. What?
Oh, Mia, the
What?
buggies are so funny.
That's
Where is it?
damn. She just hit me with the door so hard.
Sorry.
What?
I've never had my character like smash back from a teammate.
Tells her she's a. I'm not saying nothing. I didn't say
Who
anything.
said that?
Nothing.
No,
Nobody.
you're lying.
There's somebody here. Oh, there's a pot.
Tell Sarah she's a knobhead. Dude, I'm gonna send you that picture.
I thought your phone died.
I can see on the PlayStation. Wait, if you can see my chat, yeah. So when it goes blue, that's me. I can check my comments
the
on my
ice king right there.
PlayStation.
Oh,
It's very.
it's in the way of your game.
Yeah. And like I've got to stop, so I
Do we
can't
wanna
like
kill
go
him?
on it every time.
Where are we going? Yeah. What?
Kind of buggy.
Oh, the ice guy. Okay, sure.
Jesus. His builds are so freaking awesome.
Got him.
Oh,
Take what you need.
Gloves. Who wants that self-revive?
I just want bullets.
I'll take it, but
over
I'll forget.
Take it.
Thank you, guys. It's just.
I go for the bullets. Pablo, she read your message already.
Did they take the buggies out? I'm gonna be mad.
Maybe.
There's
Hey, I heard that we can still do the shoulder thing.
What?
We can piggyback each other.
Oh, that was.
Oh, guys, I don't know if I'm gonna make it. Like, completely forgot that.
You're like 30 feet away from me.
I forgot there was a storm. Guy.
Wait, so you hold down on the emotes and then go
Oh.
to social interactions.
Yeah, there's a thing, right?
Get on.
Where is he? He's over here somewhere.
I can't say this.
Mayor.
You-
Mayor, look at us. Mayor.
Yeah, you guys are being silly.
How do I get one more? I think you got to do it, Sarah.
Wait, can I get on too?
Wait,
You
what?
You can get on her
Okay.
shoulders.
Can I get on her shoulders?
Look, we're gonna be a tower of power.
There.
Oh
Yeah.
no way!
Imagine this.
You're
Look,
shooting
people
though,
dead
man.
ahead.
Oh, I gotta clip this.
People, we're the worst tower of power ever. All right. How do I get you off? All right, time to bounce. Jump in the car and leaving.
How am I the
Oh,
one
this-
down? No, someone clip that. Who
Oh,
should clip that?
Oh, wow. What happened?
Oh, I can't clip it.
You get to put it.
I did not know. What? So you can have like 4 people. Like a whole team. Oh,
Dude, I
shit.
thought we could all shoot guns while we were on there. Like, no,
No, it's only the top one.
that's
Oh!
ridiculous.
I have a self revive.
Yeah, you gotta self-revive. What? What?
Gee, I forgot already.
Oh, here's a crown. Let me go pick it up. Oh, it's not. It's mine. Why did you throw me, Sarah? What's going on? Oh my goodness.
Oh, that's a gun that I don't like.
That's what you call some funny business.
Okay, that car's stuck.
This is not what I signed up for tonight.
What?
Mm,
That's crazy though.
we got you a crown, man. We got you a crown. We got the
Wait, what?
It's not what I wanted,
Oh,
but
that's your crown. Oh, you can have mine, Meow.
where is it?
It's in the storm. I didn't pick it up. Well,
Oh.
I did pick it up actually.
Oh,
Look, have mine.
I don't care for it.
Yeah, neither do I.
Hold on, guys, wait. Come right here.
I was gonna go back to get all my stuff.
You'll be alright.
I wouldn't
Just for a
do
second,
that.
we're just shielding up.
Oh, well, thank you.
I had all that.
Yeah, so what is that? The Vector 7 DMR. That's the gun
Oh,
that
the
I
DMR,
hate.
I love it. What?
Oh, Sarah needs heals.
We'll find some. We're gonna go get your stuff real quick.
Yeah, I found some guns here. I could use this gun over here. I'm okay. Some gray
Wait, do
guns.
you want this one then? If you like it.
No, it's
Take
okay.
this.
I got the Nemesis.
I have
I
one.
don't like it.
I don't like this gun, the Vector.
What?
No, I don't
You
like
guys
that
are
one.
Crazy.
I
It's
know.
horrible. One
What?
shot and it's so slow.
It's a DMR. It's a long range weapon. It's like
Okay,
Yeah,
fine.
my eyesight is horrible.
then I'll take one over here. I got one already.
Close range. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave that.
Sean's now second guessing. Who is he playing with? Give them good guns and they don't want it. They don't want the guns.
We're about to lose that.
Honestly, I do better with a pistol, I think, than anything
Oh
else.
yeah, dude. Yeah, absolutely. The damage fall off on a pistol in this season is
Yeah.
it's ridiculous, man. Like,
Oh, is it just this season then?
well, I could swear they haven't been this good like the other time.
Ah, that might be why then.
I haven't heard any complaining in my stream. I hope it's good.
Complaining?
Yeah, I haven't. I hope the quality is okay.
I think when you were playing, when you were actually like on the stream part of Fortnite, then it was fine. But it's when you went to your map as well that was a bit laggy. Like you were laggy.
When I went to my map.
There's a time portal right there.
Yeah, your world map.
Oh. New to me.
See, I can't see that. Is that a bot? Is it? I'm turning my phone on now.
Oh man.
I just want bullets. I'm good.
Oh.
Somebody just shot at us from.
What
maybe over
bullets
there
do you need?
somewhere.
No, I'm good now. I just saw it.
I've got 500.
It's fine.
Yeah, there's somebody close, guys. Somebody with me.
Whoa! Ay, ay, ay.
How this guy thinking that he's gonna get us? No, he got us.
He did, and then he did get us.
With
You got us.
gas.
Darn.
I dropped one of them. Shouldn't have been playing with those gauntlets when they were so close. Damn it. Choo choo.
Yeah, choo choo. You can hear that, eh? I pressed the wrong one. It's supposed to be this one. It's fine. Imagine. Get on. Let's go for a couple rounds. Actually, hold on, guys.
Is she in your chat?
Yeah, she's in my chat.
Get your stubborn ass in this game.
There you go. There you go. Get her in there. Get her in here. I'll be back in a minute.
Hard-headed ass woman.
I'll be back in a minute.
Streams on pause, but the hype don't stop. Mr. Mayor's crew, we stay on top. Bop, 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 bop. Grab a snack, stretch it out. Mr. Mayor's coming back, no doubt. Squad still here, chat's alive. Hold the line, we're gonna thrive. Be right back, don't touch that tab. Mr. Mayor's on a mission, not an app. FPS Street, horror on deck. Multiplayer legends, what you expect? Be right back, don't touch that tab. Mr. Mayor's on a mission, not an app. FPS Heat, horror on deck. Multiplayer legends, what you expect? What you expect? What you expect? What you expect? Clip the plays, drop the memes. Mr. Mayor's building game of dreams. BRB, but keep it loud. This streams for the bold and proud. The shadows wait, the squad's in gear. Mr. Mayor returns, the moment's near. So hold it down, keep chat lit. We're coming back with that full kit hit. Be right back, don't touch that tab. Mr. Mayor's on a mission, not an app. FESC, horror on deck. Multiplayer legends, what you expect? Be right back, don't touch that tab. Mr. Mayor's on a mission, not an app. FESC, horror on deck. Multiplayer legends, what you expect? Hold the line, what you expect? Hold the line, what you expect? Mr. Mayor, what you expect? Pow, 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 time, time, time. Streams on pause, but the hype don't stop. Mr. Mayor's crew, we stay on top. Bop, 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 bop. Grab a snack, stretch it out. Mr. Mayor's coming back, no doubt. Squad still here, chat's alive. Hold the line, we're gonna thrive. Be right back, don't touch that tab. Mr. Mayor's on a mission, not an app. FPS Street, horror on deck. Multiplayer legends, what you expect? Be right back, don't touch that tab. Mr. Mayor's on a mission, not an app. FPS Heat, horror on deck. Multiplayer legends, what you expect? What you expect? What you expect?
Said like he could be no older than 11.
Yeah.
Jumped in my game, and I was the only one that could hear him talking. And I'm sitting there going, are you my buddy's nephew? Are you friends with my nephew or son?" Like, he was like, "No, no, no." And I was like, I don't just add random kids. I don't do that. Like, you know. So I had him put down. I had to block him.
Oh, Todd.
Yeah, apparently I don't know. Like, any kid that plays with me is related or friends
Yeah.
with my kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you could jump in my game with my friends and then tell me I don't know you, like, no.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. That's why with mine, he has a bunch of friends, and I'm like, no, I'm not adding you. I'm not playing with your friends. I don't know them.
Yeah.
Oh, I hear you.
Yeah, and even then, you know, if they're friends of my kids, like, I have their parents added. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like,
Yep. Yep.
I'm not adding some strange kid from the internet. I'm not that guy. Go play Roblox.
It's funny you say that. Mine's playing that right now.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
Roblox.
Liz and the other were doing it too.
Roblox. All right, I'm ready. Sarah, you ready? You there? Did you go pee?
Yep.
Did you wash your hands?
Yep. Flush the
Alright.
toilet as well.
I couldn't have blamed you for not flushing, but you got to wash your hands, man.
I did.
I know, I believe you. You answered real quick, and you were like sure of yourself. If you had taken like 2 seconds longer, I'd have been like, "Nah, you're a savage."
You're savage. Nice, nice.
Yeah, my bladder is not coping with me tonight. So it's gonna be bathroom
Mine,
breaks like every 10 minutes.
mine isn't either. Like water flushing right through me. The food is good, but the water, it's like didn't want me to drink water today. I don't even know what kind of music I have on right now. I have some dance music going on. I can hear it.
Water.
Yes, sir. The mimic's emote is like his like famous dance or everything.
Whoa, bro. I'm like 2 feet away. You don't scream.
And then Springtraps is his famous like that.
So you're actually in there playing Roblox?
Yeah.
See, that's funny because we were just talking about it. Could you bring me a nice cold water? If it's lukewarm, I throw it at you.
All right, is there somewhere we haven't gone yet? What's here?
We've been
Get
everywhere.
out of here, you
Well,
degenerate.
I've
Yeah,
been
but-
everywhere.
Liam, be quiet.
What about here?
Yeah, we're going there.
The
Wherever-
pink.
Wherever that.
The pink.
That wasn't me. Was I the driver there?
Oh, I don't know.
I saw the like.
Were you the driver?
Were
Was I
you?
the driver?
I was not paying attention.
The circles are there whenever, buddy. No, it doesn't matter who the driver is. The circles are always there.
Well, we're gonna have to go back on that one. If you missed out, oh no.
Yeah, because it comes up in gold, does it not?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see it.
Okay, so are we going to the gas station or are we going to those buildings?
I was gonna go to the buildings,
There's a slurp truck right there. That'll
and I
make
got
all
somebody right beside me.
100 shield real quick.
I'm on my way.
Mayor said he's going to the buildings and then landed in that one little shed.
Yeah, because there was somebody right beside me.
Mayor never lands anywhere he says he's gonna.
No, there was somebody beside me.
Here, let's get this truck real quick, guys.
Oh.
What truck?
Over here with us.
Slurp truck.
I'm coming.
We'll wait patiently for Mayor and pray we don't get shot waiting like assholes.
Well, I just shot somebody, and now they're shooting me back.
Where's my emotion? Oh.
All right, I'm on my way. There you go.
Someone, you brought company. Oh no.
I
that's
know.
Your bot. Your
My bot.
psychic.
Yes.
Psychic. I didn't mean bot.
I keep forgetting today's Friday.
It's Friday.
Oh, somebody here to get you there, Sean.
Yep, I called him.
And he's over here. He's not that far away. He's up there. Looks like
Too far.
yeah, he's far.
There's a. I'm gonna buy this legendary pistol in this machine real quick.
Oh, someone's here
Oh.
though.
I'm coming, guys. Don't die.
I have no more bullets.
Kick their asses, Sarah.
Okay.
I
did 101 damage to that guy. I was gonna say, okay.
I ran out of bullets.
There's an exclamation point in here for something.
Yeah, I think this is the. I think they took it already. You know.
Just got a weekly thing.
Oh, I just gave you everything.
This is my bad.
What's the password?
Sanctuary.
What do we do?
I don't know.
What do we do?
including the seven to remember
know.
what we're fighting
Listen, I
for.
think.
The island, reality itself, and most
Oh, that
importantly,
guy's super close.
you, the loopers. I'll remember it, sister. For both of us.
Was that it?
That was it.
I got 20,000
Sean
experience for
didn't
sitting
even
there listening
wait.
to it.
He just left.
I just stepped outside.
I need to buy a weapon over here. Where is it? Here. This thing.
Have you got gold?
Oh, you have to have money?
No, you use the credits you earn when you complete rivalries.
Okay.
Yes. Also, if you look at this, the blue one, you have this 20,000 experience for 10 points. You can buy that once a day.
Oh.
It's
I can't buy anything.
what? How many
No, I
points
have
do you
enough. I'm broke. 420. I think that was
You have
450.
420, and I just said that one cost 10.
Oh, but I have 35 wins. It costs 10.
Yeah, the 20,000 experience thing.
Oh, requires 40 rivalry wins. Oh.
Oh, so you got to get to 40 before you can get it. Okay.
But it doesn't make any sense. That'll be like next game or something. Cause you
Oh,
just,
I think we need to go.
this way.
Of course, I can't get up there.
Why is it every time I look up, I see the circle it's closing in?
Let's see.
Because we're late.
We're always like in the back chatting. Yeah, somebody here.
Faffing about. Oh. Oh, it's deep down. Nice.
Down.
Bye,
Boys.
guys. Nice knowing you. Let me know if you guys spotted DMR.
Oh.
Somebody else is shooting Sarah.
Oh.
Who's shooting? Oh, one hit. What do you mean?
Goes down.
Sorry.
No! Stop
Uh.
reviving! Cancel fucking game! What are you trying to get me killed for?
I'm just trying to hide.
That sucks, man. I'm so ripped off.
No. No.
I have no ammo. I
No.
need to reload everything.
Oh no.
It would not let me cancel that revive, and it really sucks.
It's been doing that lately.
Man, you guys readied up so fast.
Wait. There we go. And now
What?
it says that you guys are not ready. Yeah, I don't know why it's doing this.
Why is there so many bots coming into my stream?
Because you're playing Fortnite.
Oh, that's crazy. Like I keep getting these notifications there.
It's not a skissue. He's always mean to me. You're so
Hey,
mean.
how come Sean unreadied again? Oh, he's changing clothes.
Ah.
That is a lie, dear. That is a lie.
That is not a lie. He's always mean to me.
All right, we tick 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 tick. Listen to this running. Is it gonna get us or what?
I know, right? ASMR.
All I hear in my ears. Like, where are these guys?
That's what I'm hearing this.
Where are they running?
But why does it sound like so many? Or
I-
the other ones behind them?
I know. I'm like, what's going on? It's too funny though. Where are we going? What are we doing?
Purple.
Purple. I'm pink.
Arr! How you doing?
Whoa, look at my map. Sean's like bouncing around like crazy. You gonna make it?
How you doing, Art? Art, are you coming on?
Who's Art? Art, the same guy yesterday.
Yeah, you spoke some yesterday. I mean, you liked him.
Did I?
Yes.
I don't remember
You said
yesterday.
He was a cool guy or something like that.
Come on now.
He was a cool bra.
Let's go. Oh, this person.
Yes, Art's coming on.
Hey, where are you going?
Wait, so I take it it's Imagine.
I don't know. I think so.
You think so?
I think so. I was just gonna leave her for a minute to see if she's gonna load on,
I've
but
got one more. She's not coming on.
okay. But this person ran into me,
Why is it taking me down
Eh.
backwards?
and Sean got her. Sean got her.
I'm fighting with my own gloves here. Yeah, Art, when are you coming on?
What's going on here?
I've got like the crappiest things ever. I have that gun that I hate and the gloves that I hate.
I got a. Oh Jesus! I got a pizza. I'm gonna throw it down and eat
Oh,
it.
that's just.
I'm gonna throw it
Yeah.
down. And eat it. Oh,
Yo!
Oh, she's right up top.
Nicking it all. Man,
yeah.
left share pizza.
Are you keeping it warm?
I hogged the rest.
Yeah, it's okay. It's good.
She's in this bush right here, guys. Got her.
You got her.
Somewhere-
Yes.
Somewhere around. She's above us.
Yes.
Oh, no. Nah. Shot you in the face.
Nice.
All right.
See? See? Good team.
Smoke.
Good team. Good team. Let's go.
Sarah, did
I
you
was
kill them?
looting. What? The ceiling, yeah.
I was looting, she says.
I thought somebody tried to shoot you.
No, I was shooting the ceiling
Oh, okay.
for the chest.
Well, I'm glad I rushed up here. I'm just kidding.
I'm sorry. I couldn't get to it.
Oh, I see something over here.
I think this place has been looted.
I remember this song. Oh,
Circle.
To the shooting.
to the shooting.
Oh, jeez.
To the shooting.
Does that go down quiet too? Oh,
Oh, man, where are you? Come here.
I'm coming. Oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Wait, is that the same gun?
I've got
Oh no,
5
it's
kills, guys.
not.
I don't know what's going on with
Ooh,
my
nice.
stream.
What's happening?
I don't know.
Is it lagging?
No. Just something didn't look right.
Oh.
Ooh, okay. Mayor's pushing the target.
Yeah, I thought that's where we were going.
Looks like
I-
I found you.
On you go, man.
Actually, I wasn't paying attention. I was just running.
Okay, I got him.
You guys coming?
Yeah, I'm not. You guys make me check if I'm muted more often than anything.
No, got him. In the head.
What, we need to check if you're muted?
No, you guys, because shoot this guy.
Oh?
Shoot him while
I'm-
I'm holding him. Shoot him while I'm holding him. Put him down like a dog.
It's a banana!
Bad banana. You just watched me kill all your friends. What are you thinking?
Yeah.
Rampage.
Oh, we gotta go this way then.
There's a time to hide.
I forget that
Zip line.
Fortnite has no music in the background, it's just running.
Yeah. Oop, somebody shot from up on that hill. It looked like it come from up there.
Yeah. Oh, you got me. He's aiming.
Alright, he's coming down.
Oh, is there? in the water. I'm swimming. You got me.
What?
I don't know how.
No.
Oh, you got me.
I
I
shot
don't know.
him so much that first time.
Oh, my ammo. Oh, my shots. They're so bad. My lag. I blame the lag.
Oh, that's fine, Art. Take your time. You're probably gonna be on like all night.
All night? What do you mean? You can't be on all night.
All night long. All night. Why not? It's Friday. It's Saturday now. You gonna give me my bedtime?
Going.
Oh, no, not you.
Mm. It's Saturday now. Don't be
Is it? Yeah, it is Saturday now.
Yeah.
Still Friday over here.
Well, Friday, Saturday, same thing. Friday night, Saturday. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. Maybe my guy is no good. That's why I'm not winning.
Yeah, it's your skin, man.
Yeah, it's a skin. Maybe. Do you know what? Toji's always quite good though.
I don't know who, but
Reno.
maybe this guy. I don't know who this guy is, but let's try him.
He's from the crew pack, I think. Crew pass.
Yeah, Group X.
Oh, who to go?
Hmm.
Um, yes. What's that?
This
I
is
like
a pickaxe,
him. Yeah, I like that guy.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to try something. Oh, okay, that's working. Who's your guy, Sean?
Batman?
Your guy's
Oh,
Batman?
Spider Punk. No, okay. I was Batman. No, he's from Into the Spider Verse.
Oh, the way you just said it, I'm like,
Yeah,
Batman.
I was Batman a second ago.
like, like I didn't know. I know I missed Batman watching the movies and stuff, but
Don't remember him dressing like that.
well, that's it. I didn't know he had that kind of hair. Well, now he's Spider-Man,
Yeah.
but he didn't have a face mask on earlier.
Yeah, you can take it off. It's like one of his selectable styles.
I don't know what the wings do, but
Those are your blitz wins. Like if you reach tier 1 and tier 2, then
I'm in the lobby, guys.
you're in the lobby.
Yeah, that's rare.
what's up?
So I thought Vincent thought
Okay.
that
Get down, thank you.
Vincent thought that he killed me by him throwing me across the
Leave them a
map.
tip for smooth
But no,
driving.
I was still alive. He
How do you
thought I
leave them a
died.
tip?
I finished. It's 3.
Just thank them, I think.
Oh, okay.
Now
That's
I need
nice.
one more. I need to wait until it's it. And my last round is kill. And my first ever round is killer. Do you think that the last guy was acting stupid?
Probably.
He was.
Yeah.
Like he was just like this in the in an enclosed space that I could easily easily get to him with only one exit. And
Dude, you
he
did
was
not
like
just come in
this,
here and rip ass.
and he was like this in between two lockers. And then I was like, "Hi, buddy." And then I killed him. I did a tiny murders on him.
Tiny bird.
Oh, someone's shooting me
Yeah,
already.
I totally did do this some.
Come away, guys. Bye.
Where are you?
I'm right behind you.
Going to the shooting.
Oh, going to the shooting.
Huh? Where did he come from?
There's another one.
Scoobers.
Nice.
Team
Where
wipe.
did he come from, though? Was
He
he on
came
top of
from
that
over
tree?
here. No, this little field that you can stand in gives you a big jump.
But he was in the air for so long.
Yeah.
Oh, there's that gun, Sean. But you love it
I
so
already got
much.
one, though.
Oh,
I found me a purple one.
what's that? Oh, I got a jellyfish.
There's some pizza here if you guys want it.
I got my jellyfish.
Hell yeah.
Wrong ping.
Pizza!
Is it this one? Need health. How do you ping?
Wait, come here.
No, I don't
Wait,
need
where's
anything.
Sean?
I'm up on it. I'm up.
Wait,
When-
it's on your head.
Why won't it go away?
Wait, no, that's you again. Where's Sean?
Right next to Mare. Like right next to him.
Oh my goodness.
I don't need it.
There we go.
Thank you. Man, I'm lagging so
what
bad.
is that? Thank
I-
you.
so angry.
Yeah,
Thumbs up.
I have no idea. Media Mother,
get
welcome
them
in,
up?
welcome in. How are you doing? Thank you for the 500. I made it, right? Thanks for coming in. How's your evening or day, or I don't know what time it is for you. It's almost 10 o'clock at night over here.
Is it this one?
There's people fighting down here.
We're emoting. Oh, someone's here. Huh? Nice.
I'm killing your friends.
I'm
That's what
I'm
doing.
killing the friends. I'm taking them all. I
just
need my
killed your whole
bullets.
team. Somebody started a rivalry with these guys.
What's this gun here? That's what I need. I'm East Coast, working on my PC at the
really?
moment. Nice, nice. I'm also East Coast, so we're at the same time.
Get them, guys.
Wait, you got what is that, 500 followers?
Yes, yes, it was.
Oh, nice. Sorry, I don't read titles.
I hear ya. Everybody is always either West Coast or overseas. I'm trying to find people in my own time zone. Unfortunately, one of the person that I'm playing with right now, she's like 5 hours ahead of me.
Yeah, and one of them is in your same time zone, and you've completely overlooked him.
Yes, and the
I
other
was
guy that I'm
just
playing
gonna
with.
say that, like, there's so many people that are in your same time zone there. What?
None that count, huh, Mare?
How are you guys hearing me? How are you guys hearing me?
Wow. Wait, you muted yourself? That's even worse. He
She's trying
muted
to try
himself,
stuff
Sean.
behind our backs.
They're listening to me? No way. Well, that didn't work.
That's
glad-
crazy.
I'm glad
Come
you had
on.
words to say about
You
it.
guys are. I didn't even.
Wow.
No.
Somebody
Good
shooting Sarah?
times.
I
Good
need to
times.
see your face right now.
I didn't kill
I got
anybody.
one down.
There's a guy over here.
Where is he?
I don't know. He's already down.
Twitchy. Oh, the kitty. Really?
Oh, come on.
Ugh.
I don't know how I ended up using the gloves. Darn. Got shot.
Ugh, I need to fuck.
Oh, good game. Good game. You guys are funny. I got a good team here. I got a good
We'll
team.
get there.
We will.
It sounds like you're just trying to make up for what we just heard, sir.
Yeah, no, yeah,
No.
it is.
No. Mm.
Oh no.
You guys are too funny. Love it.
I gotta wait for next time when he's like, can you guys hear me? He's gotta check. He's gotta check.
Again.
Yeah, then I'll
Maybe
put
now
the
they-
volume up on your stream, man.
They can't hear me now. They can't hear me now.
Yeah.
So, what are you working on your PC? What are you doing? Media? They can't hear me. I gotta mute it right now. Oh, you guys are awesome. This is too funny. Everyone turning up the streams, right?
Oh yeah, when you say that.
No lurking here.
My muted. I know you're gonna do it.
Upgrading so I can stream better, hopefully. Awesome. Awesome.
Oh, it's upgrading?
See, this is the first time I'm streaming Fortnite, and I don't know how long. I've had PC issues. I can't count how many months in my fingers here, but I figured let's get on, let's play a few rounds and see how it goes. I really don't know if my stream is turning out or if it's glitchy. If you are paying attention, feel free to give me some feedback. But I think I need a new graphics card. I need to upgrade also. I need to buy a new PC. I'm putting too much load on it. I got too many effects and all that fun stuff. Hopefully the music's not too loud for you over there. I don't even know if it's playing. Is it still playing?
Oh wait, do you want me to check?
Yeah. Can you?
Yeah, I'm on your stream.
I build my own, but I haven't done anything with this one in a while. Oh,
Okay,
I thought I was
don't know-
driving for a minute.
I don't know if this is my phone, but you're like really quiet. No, it's not.
It's not the phone? That's not me? Should I be louder? Should I turn it up?
So- I can't hear the music.
You can't hear
Well,
the music?
That's my phone. That's my phone at full volume, and it shouldn't be like that.
Well, I hear myself, I think.
Yeah, but it's like very.
I don't
faint.
know.
That's up full volume.
I know Media Mother here, she can hear me all right. She's answering me. So that's a good thing. Where are we
That's
going?
strange, because I think the
Over there?
last time I went on your stream, I could barely hear you.
Yeah, I'm landing on these buildings right here.
Okay, perfect.
It
I
must
got-
be me then.
I got a couple people like right on
Yeah,
top.
maybe it's you. She hears me.
Mm,
I would build my own PC too, but the prices are too expensive now. Someone's shooting over here by where I am. I'm just picking up whatever I can.
Oh my god, this is gonna get.
What happened?
You tried to
I'm
kill
not
my
even-
friend.
Nice, thank you. S- Violent.
There you go. Batman's here.
That's right. You gotta let him
Oh my
know.
god, your little demon was late. Yeah, Melon. I know. Thank you guys.
I am the knight.
Do you guys
Hey,
see
there's
the
a
name on my little guy?
Oh wait, if we pet him.
Oh, nice.
Oh my goodness.
You win the trash.
Wait, what's happening?
I threw a shield grenade. It's good for you. Stand in it. I'll help
Right,
you.
where is he? Can you move
you dirty
away
bastard.
from the
Oh,
trash can?
there's somebody here.
Punk ass sneaky mo.
We're just letting Sean do all the work here.
Right, stop.
What are you trying to
Why
pet?
can't I pet him?
I don't think you can pet this guy.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, you
You
can.
can high five him.
High five this
You
guy.
can't pet him.
Wait, but if he stays still. Yeah, Mini
Oh.
Man. Mini
There you go.
Man.
Nice. You can see the name.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all I wanted to know.
There's Melon. Oh no, I haven't forgot about you.
Hey, this song sounds good.
Ooh, I took all of
Damn, lag.
I think it sounds good. Hopefully it's not too loud.
Oops.
It's okay.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. You probably need it more than I will.
How many have you got?
I got some. And you can't hear my music, you said?
I can't hear your music
Yeah,
on your
music is fine.
stream.
It sounds fine on my phone.
It sounds fine, yeah.
Like you're at mid-low volume, and I hear your music and your voice.
Okay.
Is fine.
I don't get that. Because it's only your stream as well. It makes no sense.
Well, the thing is, I have my music, but every time I speak, the volume of the music lowers automatically.
Fancy. Sarah, there's a fat pot in this room.
Oh, thanks, Sarah. I needed some
You're very
water.
welcome.
There you go. Cheers.
Hear me. All right, I'm gonna go die.
Feel free to check in and use the channel
Recording.
points.
Thank you. Isn't
I got a fun one. If you want to take a photo of me, it saves the snapshot into my Discord and you can view it there later. You can have a picture of me.
is that in the server?
Yeah. It saves automatically from the stream into the
You need to invite me that.
and then I have another one that I take a bunch of photos. I still have to add that one over, but
You shouldn't have told me that.
it's just fun, you know.
I have 5,400.
No, don't say that.
What?
That's a lot of points.
Yeah, because I don't really use them. I just forget about them.
I know, me too.
But you shouldn't have told me that. Because now it's gonna be screenshot after screenshot after screenshot.
Don't do that now.
Why not? You put it on.
I know.
Something's wrong. My internet.
I
You
just
asked for it.
I just hear Sean in the background.
Wait, what?
Something wrong with my internet.
Yeah, man, I'm lagging. I don't even know how I
Was it
killed that
nice
guy, to
and
be honest. I just shot where he used to be and it killed him.
I think you're okay. Don't hurt me. Oh, what's this?
No more.
See, if you can't hear my music, why are you
Don't
singing?
Stay secure.
Because I know the song.
Oh,
Because you're singing it.
silly sometimes, you know? I can be silly sometimes.
Oh my goodness.
Why is the circle not a circle? It's a
It's
a squid.
There's somebody right in front of us.
Let's go. Oh, I needed to reload.
I'm playing on mouse and keyboard, and every time I go to aim, it's like I got stick drift.
But you can't have stick drift.
I know.
Go.
Is that
Man.
a person or I thought it was a dolphin?
I don't know, but this Hector guy is shooting everybody.
Nice.
Oh, another one here.
Let's go.
Nice. Let's go. Let's go.
There's a med kit right there, Sarah, so you can stop making me clench up every time you get in a firefight.
I know, right?
Yeah, don't go get it or
I
nothing.
have a
Just-
med
Just
kit.
keep standing. Oh Jesus!
She's not even moving. She's standing there looking at it.
I have one.
You guys.
I have
You
two.
guys.
Just a
I had
little pain in
to.
my ass. I'm
I'm
gonna wake
sorry.
up tomorrow with sore, strained cheeks, and I'm gonna go. That woman, Sarah,
You're clenching your bum
for my
hole.
max clench. That's right. My damn cheeks are full lockdown.
I'll try to pay attention.
I'm trying to pay attention
I'm
here.
just too hyper. I'm so hyper tonight.
And there's 33 people left. Where the hell are they?
Oh wait, we need to go this way.
After this battle, I wanna try something. I might end the share chat. I want to see what it does or how it works.
Okay.
Then at least I know.
Yeah, because I have no idea anyway.
Mary thinks your friends are degenerates. Your viewers.
No, no, no.
I'm just kidding. I know.
I hope I can do this more often. It'd be fun.
Yeah, it would be.
Well, not just the games, but the stream. I like it.
No, that's
200
what I'm
meters
on
out.
about.
Yeah.
They're all over that building
miss
right
it.
there.
I miss your streams.
Yeah, and I need to rebuild again. But I got Mother
Yeah,
here.
That's okay.
Right, Mother? You got me. I like the vibes here. Nice. I like that you're here. The guy was shooting from behind.
Let's go. What is this?
Man.
Combat.
There's
Oh
two
man,
people.
I like
Oh,
this
Jesus.
country.
Found a
I-
tough.
I got shot from behind. I like the vibes.
Oh, dude, there was a whole squad hiding behind that rock.
I like the
Mary
vibes
was
here
hiding
too. I think I
This
said
is
that.
bad. This is bad.
But I'm gonna end the share chat because I don't know how it works. Why are you answering me? You're not supposed to hear me.
behind. Hey, while you do that, man, I'm gonna go ahead
I
and
see,
reset
I
my
see,
PlayStation.
I see how
see
it
if
is.
it helps us lag any.
Yeah, no
You're
worries.
gonna reset it? Okay.
Yeah.
I see, man. You don't want to be in my show chat.
Do you hear me like right away?
What?
Do you hear me
I
right
was
away?
hearing you.
No, I know you hear me through my stream, but
Yeah, your
Is it-
pedal isn't.
is it lagging? Oh, it is lagging.
Oh, in the
Oh.
stream.
Yeah, in the stream.
I thought you muted yourself.
Okay, give me
I
just a
thought you
second.
did.
No. No.
Okay.
I did. I'm doing that now. Now you can't hear me, right?
I might just turn my stream off actually.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Testing, testing.
Or will I keep on?
She can't hear me now. I changed my microphone.
So how do you you do it then?
How do I do what?
Come off the shared chat.
I don't know. That's why I wanted to try it out. I'm thinking it's just this one button that says leave collaboration.
Oh, wait, go into stream. Well, that'll be the button.
Yeah, so I just want to. We'll see. I don't know. It might not work, you know?
It's gonna work.
Okay, there. It worked. That's good. It's interesting. Do you like my my title of my stream?
Well, are you talking to me?
Yeah, I'm talking to you.
I don't know, because I said I didn't pay attention. I don't pay attention to anything.
You don't pay attention,
That's
but
why I said that's good. Yeah,
No, but-
because I asked, have you got 500?
yeah, but did you read the whole title, or should I change it?
Celebrate the 500 with me. Anonymous followers and lurkers welcome. I can't see the rest.
Oh, you can't see the rest. Okay, so maybe it's too long then.
To 1K ad free for subscribers.
Okay, so you can't see it. Okay.
Yeah, I can see it when I go on, but not like, I think because it's so long when you're on your stream that you can't see the end of it.
Okay, that's
I can
fair.
see it when I'm going on your profile.
That's fair. See, I keep getting all these bots, and that's weird.
I think it's just Fortnite. Like, does it come up with what is the bots? Is it like, oh, can you please use my code?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it's Fortnite. Cause
I think so. I think so. Daisy, welcome in. Welcome in. How you doing? Thanks for coming by. Appreciate you. How was your night? I think you were on stream earlier. I didn't mute anybody. I didn't mute anybody.
I watched.
You what? You watch. You watch nothing. No, there's no video. That was just
It said welcome. So
yeah, because I had a friend come by.
Oh.
See there, it says here, welcome. You guys are silly. Yeah, I was streaming earlier. I ended 30 minutes ago, so I wanted to come by, say hi. No, I appreciate it. I appreciate you coming by and taking the time to say hello. It must have been me.
Oh, it's a take a picture, and it's only 100.
Right? It's
Oh, you don't need
me.
to put that up.
It's just a picture. What, did you want to take a picture now? I don't even know if it's going to work.
Wait, did it do it? Did it do it? Wait. Yay!
It did it. There you go. It saved into the Discord.
Picture.
It saved right into my Discord. So
Wait,
if
is it a video or is it a picture?
it's just the picture, I have it on a delay that if you want to go back and review it, there you go.
Wait, so I got it in time?
No, because it says it in my ear of how long and when it's gonna
Oh, so you're prepared. That's not fair.
yeah. Well, the other one, if you do it, the other
catch you off guard then.
well, no, you can't. But if I don't hear it, I don't hear it, right?
Yeah, but you're always gonna hear it.
Well, you never know.
Dime has 818 ridges.
A dime has, I guess so. Guess so. I
Oh,
have another
what
redeem
do you
there.
want to count the ridges on a dime for?
Sarah, can you try the other redeem? There's another picture one.
Which one? Hold on. What is it?
I think it's like 300. I don't know what it's called. I can't remember.
Is it called Scary Nut?
No. Oh, JoJo Post.
JoJo Pose.
There you go.
Where is that? I don't see
That
one.
that one I need to have it upload into my Discord automatically. So I'm working on that one.
I can't. It's not there.
What are we doing right now? Oh, I was just testing. I'm waiting for Sarah to ready up.
Yeah, but I'm trying to look for this, and you're.
It's in my channel redeem.
It's a 200. It's a 200, Sarah.
Oh, it's a 200. Okay.
Oh, yeah, I'm like.
There you go. I'm just testing out and make sure that all my 3, 4. There, it worked.
Dude, you had one that was my favorite, and it was
Nah,
like,
but how did you put the thumbs up already? You're still hearing that.
I'm still hearing it.
We can't, Sean. We can't catch him off guard.
No, you can't catch me off guard on those. I have them set for me, you know, so I can take my own pictures.
he used to have one that I used
What are
to
you
use
up
for-
to tonight, Tazy?
He got rid of it.
Which one
Which
was
one?
it, Sean?
Oh man, I can't. It was from like. It's from one of those movies like Superbad or something like that. Like one of those.
Oh, I don't know.
But it was back when you wouldn't let me curse. And it had
Oh.
curse words in it.
Oh, I don't remember. I'll have to go back and take a look.
Oh.
Just load it back up.
Oh, no sweating.
Sarah, you want it ready?
Yes.
Yes.
She
I've
wants
got
to,
cat
but
on me
will
right
she?
now. Hold on.
Nice.
Cat demands attention.
I can't remember, Tazy.
She's gonna talk to me all night.
What were you playing?
Yeah.
How did the stream go, by the way?
Mm.
I've been messing around with stream all night. I don't know. And
You can't
I'm
talk
here
to
now,
someone
so
else.
we'll see if it works. Everything seems to be okay. It's been going on for 2 hours, so if everything's good, I'll be on more often. I'll be playing Fortnite and trying to have a good time. I've been doing for this for a little bit now, but I'm still a noob at everything, so
I wish I had the Ninja Turtle emote.
I have a dance one.
What do you say? Yeah, that is. I actually like that one.
Which one?
Your one.
My dancing one?
Yeah.
It's just a dance. It depends on the character I use, I feel. Where are we going?
You guys pick. I've got us killed plenty of times in a row right now.
I don't know. Want to go to the Wonky Land? Or
Wonky
yeah,
Land.
sure. We'll go there.
Okay,
Wh-
Frigid Fortress.
Yeah, we'll go there. We're good. Wherever you pinged.
Where your marker is.
We go. If there's anybody new in my stream that's never been here before, if you see that little logo that's flashing on my top left or on your top right, it's a Streamer app. It's a good way to monetize a stream without having to do anything. You just accept the campaign if you qualify. It is invite only. So feel free if you want to join up, click on that link.
I got people coming in on me.
And we'll try to get you on your merry way to make some extra money while you're streaming.
place is mental though.
It's crazy here. There's like so much shooting going on.
Mm.
I'm down. I've just shot the guy right on and no. No.
Oh, he got me down in one
Yeah.
hit.
Who
One
wanted
hit.
who wanted to come here?
You?
No. I didn't ping it here. I just said sure, we'll go here.
I didn't want to go on Wonky Land, okay?
Oh.
Damn it. Poop aim. Damn it.
Oh.
What am I even thinking?
Okay, I'm not picking.
I find every time I've landed here in the past,
Wait, let me change because I don't want to be.
you want to change.
Skin.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know that's what you meant.
he's not giving me any luck.
Man, these gunshots are loud in the ear. It's crazy. Let me try this effect. I don't know if it. Oh, did you guys see that? Wow, that was scary. A little baby just came by my screen. Oh, you guys are back in the lobby, right?
Sorry.
No worries, I gotta go there.
I'll go.
Oh, wow, that worked well.
Reno. We go Reno. Oh, maybe it's the shoes.
I don't know who the. Maybe this guy's no good. Maybe I'll go back to my.
You want to change as well?
Yeah. I'd just be my fighter guy from Street Fighter.
I'm actually gonna put my stream off now though.
Yeah, no worries.
So, oh, Stabby!
Oh yeah, I forgot about all this. Let's
Good night, guys. Cause I kind of want to listen to some music. But you have Dabby. I'm so jealous.
I love Dabby. He's my favorite.
So do I.
I have All Might too.
Cult of the Lamb.
You know, there's supposed to be a multiplayer out for Cult of the Lamb now.
There is.
There wasn't when I played it before, but I wonder if it's any good.
I know you can play like co-op with
Yeah.
with friends. No worries, no worries. I hope you got all the Woolies campaign there that you were going after all sorted out.
Oh my
I keep
goodness.
forgetting from time to time I have that the shout out. It's always new to me. Like I said, I don't do this enough.
I don't think I've ever given a shout out.
On your stream?
Mm-hmm.
It works. I know that.
Works.
Where are we going? Where are we going?
Painted Palms. Right here.
Painted Palms. Nice. All right, wish me
Okay,
luck.
music time.
Wish me luck. I hope
Good luck.
yes. Good luck.
You hope what? You hope you'll win this game.
I hope so. Well, we started the first game we had, remember? That was a good one. And then
One?
it just seemed like the later it gets, the sweatier it is. And then it seems like I forget what I'm doing from time to time. So
Well, I've put my music on, so this either might go really well or really bad.
it's okay. I have
Oh,
music on too.
Yeah,
Oh,
I've not
shit,
listened to
Mayor.
music at all.
I don't have any guns. Here you go.
I don't have anything in if it was for
Ooh,
me.
I just drilled the hell out of that lady.
I got a guy here.
Oh, damn.
Drilled
He's
that
running
lady.
away. I guess I. Is there another guy here?
It's Scooby Doo. Where you guys at? I see. Come here, Sarah.
Oh, right beside you.
Right here. Boom. Shield.
Thank you.
Look at that.
Ah, see, take care of each other. Can you tell me more about the Streamer app thing? I went to the website. How legit is it actually? It pays you per campaign. So essentially, you receive campaigns depending on your viewership. So first of all, obviously, you got to qualify to see if you fit for the campaigns. But you do get a choice of what you want to promote and advertise. And once you get accepted, you receive a whole dashboard. There's a login. It is legit. I've gotten paid off of it. It pays you through PayPal. You get a little logo that you just add as a browser source. You fit it to your screen. It has to be actually on every scene that you have in order for it to be applicable. So if you go to Be Right Back or your starting screen, you have to have them there too. All the rules and regulations, guidelines are all in the Discord. You're welcome to join that too. If, well, not my Discord, but Streamer app.
I'm going to fight people.
And depending on the campaign, it like I said, it pays well. It goes by like, how do I say it? Like they want people to know, they want you to advertise it. So not just stream and not say anything, but give people the opportunity that they can click on the link to see what it's about. There's no buying necessary. As long as they click it, they can see. And it just helps you out, right? But the more you have it on your stream, the longer you stream for, it pays either by the quarter, so every 15 minutes, or sometimes every minute. And it can range from like 50 cents every 15 minutes to $1.50 every 15 minutes. So it is worth it. I've been part of them for almost my whole streaming journey, so I've been getting paid, so I'm happy. You guys happy? I didn't mute you guys.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, no, we're letting you talk.
Yeah.
But can I just say something?
Sure.
I put my stream off and I can shoot now.
Oh. Why? What held you up?
It's like a bad luck thing. I don't know. Like as soon as my stream goes on, it's like I forget how to shoot. I don't understand.
I think that you're looking over at the chat every so
No, it's
often.
half the time, every so often. Not when I'm in gunfight.
Okay.
And and it's not. I'm like I'm nervous. Oh. I don't know. Oh, they.
This is the worst gun ever.
dang.
Ah, this is the worst gun.
Wait, take mines.
No, it's good.
Everyone.
Oh wow, get out. You
They
guys
just,
are sweaty as hell.
Yeah,
they just
they ganged up.
ganged up on us. Yes.
A steady stream of bullets came out of that.
Why
window.
did Sarah end? I don't know why Sarah ended.
I wanted to go and listen to music. I put my Spotify on because I haven't listened to music today.
She wanted to listen to music. I don't know if you can hear her. Oh, she'd be able to. I turned the volume back up. No, the volume was low.
You said that you didn't mute us.
No, on my stream.
Oh,
Pablo was asking. Our friend was asking why you left.
huh?
I said Pablo Milky Bar was asking why you ended your stream.
Wait, did you not hear me though?
I heard you, but I don't know if he heard you. That's why I said I had to turn the.
Did you
Yeah.
hear me? Pablo. Can he hear me? I don't know.
He should be able to.
Yeah.
Hello.
We're not as loud as Mayor, but
Yeah, that's why I said I had to turn you guys up
Yeah.
a little. There, I think you guys
Your
are better now.
stream is like it's like 4 seconds delayed.
I know. I see that now. It
wanted to
happened when
pump
you.
myself up with some music.
I appreciate that. Thanks for leaving me up. If you're going, have a good night. It lagged after you
Stay.
after you ended the stream. It lagged.
Wait, what?
See what you did?
What?
You ended
You
your stream.
lied.
No, you ended the stream, and my stream is lagging now. Your fault. Blame it on you.
That's okay, because I already blamed you tonight, so that's fine. I'll take that.
ripped tides.
Oh, you
Where
go
you
there.
going?
No, there. Riptide.
Huh?
For some reason in my head, I kept thinking I was playing solo.
Oh my god.
I'm like, wait a
Go on,
minute.
Pick a spot.
There's people here. I don't know if I wonder if this works. Does this work? Yeah, that still works.
Miles, what are you doing, buddy?
Oh, landing with other people. That's not good.
Nice.
And Sarah lands in the same spot as me. And then just runs away like she can't hear me.
Looting. Wait, do you want to cuddle? Oh, I can.
Are you asking me you want to cuddle?
Yeah.
Oh, you got somebody? Let's shoot him in the head.
Yeah.
Let me shoot him in the head.
Behind you. Like, I can shoot now. This is crazy.
I ran out of bullets.
Oh, so have I.
Oh.
I don't have any.
I got a gun. What's that song?
Yeah.
Somebody's got a gun. Oh, and in the stream too, if you guys are if nobody's aware of it, you guys can redeem your songs.
Yeah,
Just that-
but I didn't really see. I seen that, but I didn't really see the point in that with me.
Yeah, well, sometimes people like to listen to their kind of music.
That's good though.
I try to give people options, like if they hear something or they're like, I don't like this song, you can redeem your own song into the
Put a
stream.
song in, guys, that I'll pick.
You know, give people options.
Well, do you like rock music?
I listen to whatever. That's why it's there. I actually like it when other people redeem their songs.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do that real quick while you guys, since we're talking about it.
It gives me a.
Oh, you requested.
Yeah. I can't remember what the name is. Hold on, let me find it.
Wait, let me.
Now
put my
I can
other,
chat. My God, I'm
headphones
off to
in then.
bed. All right, Majin, have a good night. I'm glad that you can chat again. Thank you.
Bye, Queen. Love you even though you don't love me back.
Thank you for hanging out and being here.
Good night.
No, I like it when people redeem songs so that way I know what other people listen to. And sometimes I just add them to my playlist and I'm like, thanks. Thanks for creating a playlist for me.
I don't know why the song is stuck in my head today, but I submitted it.
Wait, hold on, because I'm going to put my little headphones in my phone.
Wow, my smart detection auto mod
What?
won't even let you say that word stupid. But it got it. It picked it up. It should be next. There you go. Is that the song?
I don't know yet. Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, I like it.
Wait, let me put mine up.
Sean Majin said goodnight.
Night, Queen. Did you hear me say I love you even though you don't love me? I wonder. Or she's just ignoring it.
She should. I turned you up.
Why do I feel like I've heard that song before?
You probably have. It was big when it come out, but it was like
Who
ages
is
ago.
it?
It's cold.
It's by Cold. Called Stupid
Oh,
Girl.
Cold. Ah. Help!
I'm attempting to lift
He's
15
low.
up. Yeah,
Nice.
got this.
Should be one more. One more somewhere.
Did he not just die instantly?
I don't know.
Did you shoot him?
No, I shot him, but there should be one more, no?
Yeah, but did he not die straight away? I think he dies straight away.
Yeah, this guy died right away.
Yeah, so then there's no more.
Oh,
in the
then,
team.
oh, okay.
Yeah, because he didn't get down.
Yeah, because usually it would roll around. Okay, that's what you meant by that.
Roll around. I keep forgetting that you can do that.
Same here. Sean, where are you?
I was doing the little challenge thing to get this gold shotgun.
Hey, first time chatter. Oh, snap. Welcome in. Welcome in. Thanks for coming by. How are you doing tonight? How are you doing? Were you on tonight? Were you playing some nice games? I've had a bad memory today. I don't remember where I've been. I've seen a lot of streams today. So hard to keep up with what people were playing. So laggy. I hear myself through somebody's headset.
Oh, that's mine. I'll turn it down. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good, but I'm like, wow, it's so laggy.
Yeah, that's why I have my little headphones in my phone.
Yeah. I don't mind. I hear myself every day. You know.
Hey,
Welcome,
I don't think you
welcome.
can hear me and Sean actually over the music.
I hear you guys.
Yeah, you hear, but not in the stream.
Oh,
Like,
is it?
yeah, now the music's so loud.
Yeah, I turned it up because I wanted you guys to hear the music.
Oh.
I have a dial. I can just play around with volumes, right?
Oh, I wonder if this is actually gonna work. Hold on.
I should post an auto message in my chat so it reminds people that they can redeem songs and take pictures of me.
Yeah.
I think that would be nice for people.
Pictures.
Yeah, take pictures of
You
me
take a
and
picture of yourself. You get ready for that.
I can't take picture of myself.
What?
Doesn't let me take pictures of myself.
No, I've got an idea.
Just hit the print screen button and then.
I've got
Oh,
an idea.
that button.
What?
Print screen on the keyboard.
Print screen?
Yeah, if you hit print screen, it copies the image of your screen and then you can paste it in Paint or whatever.
We should go.
Oh, on the phone.
No, on the PC. There's somebody here.
Oh, well, I don't have a PC, so.
I don't know what I pinged, but. Oh, come on. Why does it always have to load? When.
Peely's out.
Yeah.
Did this girl die? Where did she go? Is that what my hiccups actually sound like? That's horrible.
Yes, that's what it sounds like.
I'm putting my mic up. Yeah, because I can hear myself. I don't like it.
It's not that bad.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Oh. There's that gun, John.
I don't like it.
Purple one.
You've always gone.
Yeah, they're one of the ones I look for first.
I want to try another alert here that I did. Okay, that works good. I find a lot of my my things I haven't used in a while. A lot of them glitch.
That scared me.
Did it?
Yeah.
That was the top 10.
What have I done with that?
No rivalries available.
And you know, with the stream working well and all new friends coming through, You know, this is a good celebration here. Hey, Spectre, welcome in. Oh yeah, it's Fortnite. It is Fortnite. Welcome in, welcome in. How you doing, buddy?
Oh shit, you're sitting there with no shield and I'm busting these barrels.
It's okay, I got this thing. Does it not
What is
work?
Ripple my game? What does that mean?
What's what?
Ripple my game.
Oh, just I don't know. Try it.
What does it do?
I don't know. I want you to try everything.
Okay.
Oh, it just rippled my.
Yeah, that's the one I almost picked until you told me about the song.
Oh.
I just don't know how long it went on for. There you go. It worked. Right on.
Good to know.
Yes. I didn't know. I couldn't remember what it did.
Hey, I've got over 4K of this. Oh, I'm mad.
I like the other one that I added there. It's the same but different.
I like that one
Uh-oh.
too.
Yeah.
Down there.
Same,
I-
same, but different.
Yes. Because we're all the same, but we're different. That's my favorite saying.
Right over there. Right there.
Oh, one guy coming.
Ah!
They killed Sarah.
Oh, what is he shooting?
Down over there.
I see two
Knocked one.
where I died.
Where is he?
They're in the bush right here.
Where? Oh, I'm trying to shoot my guy. Oh, that was the last. Let's
Kiss my
go.
ass, I'm Batman.
There you go. And everybody's coming through. Thank you guys. I appreciate you all. Celebration.
Let's celebrate. There's a party going on right here. A celebration to last throughout the years. So bring your good times
That was good.
and your laughter too. We gon' celebrate your party with you. Come on now. Let's all celebrate and have a good time.
This is a cool song. Look at that, and we're back again. GG's, good win. Oh, I added this too. It's voice activated. I don't know if you're looking at my stream there, Sarah. But I can say you're awesome. Taking photos of me here. Stop it.
Stop it.
That is
Stop
the same-
it.
You like have that recorded or something?
No, it's not recorded. It's me. It's me.
No, because that's the same. Right, let me do it again then. But yes,
You gonna do it again?
that is the same. Do a different pose.
Okay, fine. Is that
Oh
better?
my god, it is.
Is that better?
Yeah. Okay, I believe you.
Told you it's me.
I believe you. I know it's you.
Is it
I
recorded?
thought
She
it was recording
says.
because I done it twice.
All my friends come to see me. It must have been me they were looking for.
Is it me you're looking for? Oh my god. Mel, you need to turn me down.
Why are you loud?
No, because I just heard myself singing.
It wasn't that bad.
It wasn't bad.
I was.
Believe me, if you were, I would speak up. I don't know if you picked up on this about me, but I don't really have much of a filter. Like,
Oh, it's okay. I know I can't sing.
Down one.
See, I was running over there and I
I'm
don't even
coming.
have a gun.
oh my god, I just hurt myself falling off.
Wait, can I?
There's a guy over here.
Wait, I thought it was.
Oh, I ran out of bullets.
I picked that up.
Somebody's flying.
I can't see him. Where is he? I can't see.
I can't tell. Oh, he just hit the zip line.
Oh, I can't get him. Too far.
He's got to be above us.
What's that? Oh, I got something.
He's weak. He's weak. I'm gonna eat him.
You got Sarah over here fishing. We're shooting people. We're doing the
Guys, I need ham. I'm
Doing
gonna
the-
get down
I
by a
just put half
stupid
a
ass pink
gun.
teacup. Guys. I just
Oh.
fell off a cliff. Somebody fucking help me.
I'm coming.
I'm helping.
Get her away from me. Oh my god. My crown.
I'm sorry. Let me take your gun.
Yeah.
Down.
Good shot, man.
And I have no more bullets.
Don't die. Ooh, she got a gold gun. Too.
Hey.
Oh, and
Get
take
back
that
in the fight.
can.
Mayor, why are you standing still? What the hell's going on?
I froze for a minute.
Use your med kit. Hide behind a rock. Use your med kit.
I'm trying.
Oh god. I'm afraid to look.
Thanks, Daisy, for the redeem.
I'm doing well.
I appreciate that. I always gotta try to ride the motorcycle every time I get it. Where's I need.
Go help Sarah.
Where is she? Go help Sarah. I need a I need a. What do you call it?
Grab that blue fish. See that blue fish floating on your right? Ooh,
Here.
mine.
There you go.
Sean, what does this card do? Like, will I put it down?
So worth it.
That is a key card. For
I
a
appreciate that.
vault.
I appreciate that. That was so fun.
I've never been able to
Okay,
use it.
but
Where'd you get
that
it?
has so. I got it. I was fishing. I got it
I'm
in the
just glad
water.
my people
Yeah,
they
you know that
they accept
lighthouse
me
you
for
put
that.
up there?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
we
that
don't
one.
have time for that.
Yeah, I guess.
Where's the reboot van?
Right in front of you.
Oh, there. You're trying to find
It's
it,
like
but
the seals, Mayor.
oh, don't start.
Or the
Oh.
giant taco.
The giant taco. I haven't seen the taco. I don't think. I didn't look at it.
You know one that says what? Taco?
The taco.
You said taco.
Taco.
There's.
Yeah, where's it?
Why does it say that I was still doing that? Taco. Wait, what is that?
What the hell?
stanky stems. That's not a
Here,
tackle.
here, take that.
Yeah.
Where's the taco? I don't see it up here. I just
Where
see
is the tackle?
it's not there.
Oh, here it is.
I
Crusty
just
God.
I just see the seal.
A crusty cod. Sorry. Here.
There you go.
What is this?
I don't know.
I got a DMR.
What do I have? Oh, I got the combat. Okay, I'm good.
Ooh.
Oh, I got people. Got people on me.
There are people on you. Where are you?
Get him there. Your friend's coming up our back.
Ah, I hate this.
I've got no bullets. I've got a fishing rod.
Pick up one of Mayor's guns. Oh shit! Somebody shot me in the butt.
I got a fishing rod, she says. Oh, damn it. Run.
I just spent 80 points on that gun. She picked up.
GG's.
Crown's gun.
I had no bullets and I only had that fishing rod and I tried to attack him with.
GG's.
Do you know the song Peaches when Jack Black is screaming Peaches? It sounds like he's saying stupid words.
It doesn't. It doesn't sound like that at all. No. Yeah. No, I know what you're
No, it
referring
sounds
to.
like he's saying Peach.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It doesn't change that. That's not at all. I think you're hearing that because it's funny to you, but no, no, it's not.
Jojo!
Yeah.
There you go.
Said Gojo.
All right, we're gonna go for another.
Yes.
How many more you got left into you there, Sean?
Well, it's Friday, so I'm good.
Okay. I was gonna go for another, I don't know, half hour,
Cool.
and then I think I can call it, and I think it's gonna be a good one tonight. I appreciate everybody still hanging out and lurking if you were there. We are big on lurkers and anonymous followers, so
Just waiting to get 500 up again so I can get a damn song.
professional lurkers. I don't mind at all. I don't mind at all, mother. I'm gonna start calling you mother. You're my mother.
Sounds on, Sarah?
Huh?
Do you have your visual sounds on?
Now I have a mother, media mother, so, and I have a mummy.
Can you
Sorry,
see
I
what-
was.
Can you see
Sorry.
what
It's
direction my
great.
footsteps are coming from?
Yeah.
Come on, guys, another pew pew pew.
And the Spotify
I haven't
doesn't
seen
screw
any
that up
pew
for
And
you?
then if I ever do karaoke, I put it on this voice, and I sing like this, or even change.
To do this and we can sing sometimes. But usually when people come in as
Hey, hi guys, welcome in. Appreciate you guys all being here. Hey, how come we didn't ping anything?
I
'Cause
don't.
we're
Where are we
retarded.
going? I just jumped.
guess
I
we'll go
have
back to
no
my house.
idea.
All right, let's go here.
Hopefully there's not people waiting for me.
I haven't even landed yet. Come on.
They want to kill Mayor.
Yeah, I see that.
I'm on my way.
I'm on my way. Love it when people say that. I'm on my way. and I don't have any gold.
How much do you have?
Of
None at all?
80.
Okay. How much does that cost to
Oh
hire?
look, go fish and you can get the thingy then.
350.
Could you drop me 40 and I'll hire
Yeah.
him? Cool.
Take it all. It doesn't do me any good right now.
Look what I got.
What'd you get?
The card.
Nice. Now we gotta
Card.
figure out where this
Card.
is.
Yeah, a special card.
There's a vault somewhere in the lighthouse. Oh, Jesus.
I see it.
I already have
Does
that
it
gun.
mark it for you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
if
cool.
I hold
That's cool.
the card in. Oh, that was. What is this? That's terrible.
Oh, such a bad aim.
Oh. You just could take your pick of that.
Where'd he go?
I knocked her.
Did you? Okay, good.
Yeah. She has the DMR I want.
If I didn't say it already, I appreciate you guys all being here hanging out. You guys like the vibes? Let me know. I'll get on more often. If you guys want to hear any music, feel free to redeem it and pick your own songs.
Oh, where you at there? Since you're with me. Here, come here.
If you guys can't hear it, let me know and I'll turn the volume up. I never know how loud the volume is.
Let's get back to Sarah.
And usually when I play Fortnite, this is the only game that I usually put music on so people can just vibe to it in the background. I try not to talk too much so you can hear the music.
Did you get the vault already, Sarah?
Yeah, I pinged the rest of it. It wasn't very good.
Oh, okay.
Whoa, let's go. Oh, Sarah's over there.
Yeah, she's.
Looting.
Looting. Okay. What is this ball? Overdrive grenade. What is that?
It's like a shockwave grenade, except you get a little bit of like a slap effect.
Okay. I don't, can you turn the music up? Sure. You go.
Somebody is reviving right next to us. Guys, I need help.
Oh! Taylor's
Okay,
coming!
okay.
Oh. Who's this guy?
Playing PC, buddy.
Okay. I didn't see. I didn't see a name, so. Take what you need.
Cool.
Where is she?
Realize these are walruses that we're bouncing off of.
It's
No,
a
she-
seal!
It's a seal.
Whatever.
Nice.
Hey, Mel can even see them, so it's fine.
All right, I got a car coming, guys. There's a whole squad coming from over there.
I see them.
She's up above us.
Someone's down there.
She's over here. On the other side of the rocks.
Yeah.
We're sitting ducks over here.
I got this one over here. Well, I hope. When the music is playing and I'm talking and it drops volume, does it go down very quiet? Like, can you still hear the music?
When you're talking, I don't usually.
Well, you can't hear it now. There's like no sound on, but
There's a llama sitting out here.
you can ride
One
it.
of the ones you can ride. What?
Yeah, you can ride it.
Come here, little friend.
I just don't know how low the music ducks. I think I gotta change that.
Somebody's trying to shoot me off this llama, guys.
Where are you? Coming. I see you riding it. Looks
Hey, I look cool.
so funny.
Look at him.
I don't know what that was supposed to give me.
The llama.
No, on my stream is just
Llama now.
thanks for the redeem. It's just a blurb that pops into my head or my ears. Look at this. I don't know if there's supposed to be a video to go with it or not, but
Damn.
I need to adjust.
Buried me out of the way.
Scary nuts.
I can run over you guys. This is ridiculous, and I kind of love it.
Oh, somebody here. Oh, the whole team is here.
Oh shit! My zip line fucking.
Oh,
Oh, how, that was one hit and I'm done. What?
Oh, there's another fucking squad. Kiss my ass, Snoop Dogg.
oh, somebody's shooting me in the. Oh, where is he? Where'd he go?
I'm in the van with him.
You're in the van with him.
Yeah. Not today, bitches.
You get him? Oh, I'm running out of ammo.
I'm giving chase with my llama.
You see that? Oh no.
You can't outrun me.
Oh, Jesus. I got no ammo.
Come on, Liam, give it a break. Fight me and my llama.
Are you still on that llama?
Yeah.
You just been chasing people.
Yes, but I'm trying to catch up.
That's crazy.
I got him, guys. I
You get him?
fucking nailed him. I chased him. I chased him down
Wait,
with the
what?
fucking llama.
That's
You
hilarious.
stomped on him.
No. I chased. He jumped in a brand new reboot van.
Yeah,
Chased him down with my pistol. I just fucking.
that thing was quick too, your little llama.
He's still
It's still on it. Can I ride you?
Oh shit.
Is there room for two?
God, it's a two-seater.
It's not a two-seater. Can I ride you back?
Two-seater. Who shot it? Who shot?
I don't know.
Who did?
There's some.
Wait. Oh, I didn't get that clip the other day.
Oh no.
I don't think so. That was just chaos. 'Cause I got on the llama and I was like, what am I doing? I was spinning around in a circle.
Oh, they're trying to kill my llama. Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh my god, what the hell's happening to me right now? Do you see this?
No, I don't see.
Sarah, can you see me?
Sarah's dead.
Yeah, I can see you.
You see me like galloping with that, with
Yeah,
that
but I
llama?
can spectate. You're
Oh,
not
yeah.
getting off that llama. Invisible
I'm
llama.
gonna puke. It's a ghost llama. Save me. Shit. You're lucky.
Wait,
I'm
what?
still on it.
Where's Sarah?
But you're down. No? I'm dead.
Yeah, I was totally down, but I was on a ghost llama. Jump in it and run. Jump in it and run, dude. They're right there. No. Oh my god. Shit, why don't you listen to me?
Oh. I thought that was you. Oh. I just wanted to reboot.
That was the most fun I've had in this game ever.
Oh.
He was running for his dear life, and I was chasing him on a golden llama. That was the best time ever.
Oh, that was good. I gotta take a 2-minute.
Okay.
Yeah, I need to go for a pee actually.
Yeah, same. I'm just gonna be back in a minute. I think I have an ad coming anyways, but 1 second, guys.
Okay, I'll be back.
Yeah, just go to the lobby.
Streams on pause, but the hype don't stop. Mr. Mayor's crew, we stay on top. Bop, 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 bop. Grab a snack, stretch it out. Mr. Mayor's coming back, no doubt. Squad still here, chat's alive. Hold the line, we're gonna thrive. Be right back, don't touch that tab. Mr. Mayor's on a mission, not an app. FPS Street, horror on deck. Multiplayer legends, what you expect? Be right back, don't touch that tab. Mr. Mayor's on a mission, not an app. FPS Heat, horror on deck. Multiplayer legends, what you expect? What you expect? What you expect? What you expect? Clip the plays, drop the memes. Mr. Mayor's building game of dreams. BRB, but keep it loud. There's streams for the bold and proud. The shadows wait, the squad's in gear. Mr. Mayor returns, the moment's near. So hold it down, keep chat lit. We're coming back with that full kit. mission, not an app. FPSC, Homer on deck. Multiplayer legends, what you expect? Be right back, don't touch that tab. It's the bears on a mission, not an app. FPSC, Homer on deck. Multiplayer legends, what you expect? Hold the line, what you expect? Hold the line, what you expect? Mr. Mayor, what you expect? Pow, 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 pow. Streams on pause, but the hype don't stop. Mr. Mayor's crew, we stay on top. Bop, 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 bop. Grab a snack, stretch it out. Mr. Mayor's coming back, no doubt. Squad still here, chat's alive. Hold the line, we're gonna thrive. Be right back, don't touch that tab. Mr. Mayor's on a mission, not an app. FPS read, horror on deck. Multiplayer legends, what you expect? Be right back, don't touch that tab. Mr. Mayor's on a mission, not an app. FPS heat, horror on deck. Multiplayer legends, what you expect? What you expect? What you expect? What you expect?
All right, I'm back. I don't know if you guys are.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, perfect.
That little away clip that was playing, was that you playing Phasmophobia?
I think so.
Dude, you know they're doing the Easter event now, right?
Yeah, I was playing it earlier today before Fortnite.
Okay. Does Sarah play it at all? What? She's
I
never
don't
played
know.
this before, huh?
Yeah. I don't know. I played it. We tried to chase some bunnies.
Yeah. Do you ever want to jump on it, man? Just let me know.
Yeah, I forget every so often that you have that.
Yeah, I don't just have it, but I'm also pretty damn good.
No, I know. I've seen from the last time from what I can remember,
Yeah.
we played, you were pretty good. As always, I'm a noob to every game, but I understand the gist. I know what I'm doing. What I'm looking for is just I'm slow.
They've got so many updates and stuff coming, man. And this Easter event they're doing, they have it so that if you complete objectives, you get cosmetics for the upcoming character customization update.
Okay.
You can unlock like a special T-shirt and a little necklace that's kind of badass. It's got a glowy firefly on it. It looks kind of like a dog tag.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
you get this weird, creepy mask. Looks like it's made out of tree bark.
Yeah.
And then you also get the badge. The community update or the community challenge was done like when I logged in the same day as the event started. So
Mm-hmm.
you probably already got that badge for it. Just for logging in.
Probably. I log in every so often and play a little bit here and there, but I don't have hundreds of hours.
April 16th, they're doing another Twitch badge, but you have to like watch some kind of streaming.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. You gotta
announcement thing.
I've seen those. We're ready when you are.
Oh, my bad, dude.
No worries. You were talking. I just didn't want you to think, what's going on? What's so long? We're like, we're waiting on you, buddy. No, it's all good. That's a nice skin.
Yeah, I liked it.
I like that one. All right, I'm head out. Have a good rest of your stream. I appreciate you coming in and hanging out as long as you did. I will make sure to try to catch you again next time when you're on.
We ought to go for this Hope Glider.
If you have any questions, you know where you found me, so you feel free to DM me over there and chat and ask questions, and I can share and explain a little bit better than I did over the stream. But have a good night. sleep well if you're going to bed. If you're going out, have a good night over there. And catch you again next time. Bye. I should make this become a regular, Sean. If you're good, I'd be streaming and gaming all every day.
Oh. I mean,
Like the streams don't have to be super long, but you know, it's always good for me to play and game and get used to it again. And while I'm at it, stream.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Oh, it's cool. I like it. Where are we going? Or who's driving the bus? Not me.
Not us, yeah. Let's do Humble Hills.
I remember, I don't know if it's like that now, but remember there used to be certain parts of the map where you would like defeat bosses?
Yeah, we did that one time. Remember we beat the Ice King.
Yeah, but is there only the one area here?
No, there's well, kinda. I want to say there's like two this time.
Because I don't remember seeing any other one other than that Ice King guy. What's happening? You lagging?
Hello?
Yeah, we're here.
Hello.
You here?
Hi.
Hi, Sarah. How are
I
you?
didn't hear anyone.
We were here. We're talking about you.
We were actually talking to you.
Oh,
Sorry.
that's what I meant. We were talking to you.
I don't know what. Yeah, I don't get it. Is it in no
Alright, I
time
got
to
2
be
sticks of dynamite, a pistol, and a shotgun. I'm ready to do some stuff.
I have a shotgun and some cluster cannon.
I hate that thing. A lot of people love it. I hate it.
Oh,
No, I don't like any of them. But here you go. I got myself my nemesis. I have a thing on my stream too. I don't know if it works,
What is it?
but I set it up so people can play with me.
That's cool.
Team White.
So that way it puts people in a queue to load up and join me as I go.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
And I think it's like exclamation mark join or something, and then it starts up the queue. I see your name, and I can pick you from the list and have you play 2 or 3 games, and we flip and go to the next. That way people aren't fighting and saying, "Hey, me
We gotta
next."
Go for that. If you guys got a couple games, if we go to OG and we get a victory in it, we get that free glider.
Yeah, that's in the OG. There was something else too. If you won a match,
Right. I think that's the glider I'm talking about, if I'm not mistaken.
is it? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the umbrella is a glider. No, I keep forgetting. Yeah, you got it. You're on top of the ball. Right. Oh, there's somebody down there. Oh, that's a bot.
I think is that a boss?
Yeah, it's a bot.
Oh,
I'm
there is
getting
another boss in
hungry.
that area, though. That is a boss right there. That's that inky guy.
Yeah, by the water, right?
That's who the second boss was that I was thinking of. It's Ice King and him. Ooh. Somebody's shooting.
Oh, I got a new emoticon, whatever that is. I just unlocked it.
There's a slurp shield fish right here. A jelly right here.
Oh no! Damn it!
I'm Slim Shady aside the real Shady. All you other Slim Shadys are just on TV. So boom, the real Slim Shady, please stand up.
The real Slim Shady, please stand up.
Get you up, and then I'm gonna drop this pizza, and you chow down. Sarah, you're right next to us too. You guys.
Pizza.
Pizza.
Oh, there's a car coming. I'll take care of that. You guys hang out here.
I like how the pizza like gives you so much.
They're running from me. Wow.
Take it.
That was so flattering.
Thank you. Oh.
You guys should have seen it. They drove up in that vehicle, and I just like stood out in the open and stared at them. They straight up did a U-turn and left. It was nice.
Oof. Oh.
They were like, nah, this guy needs a business.
I hate these storms when you're not paying attention. Oh, I gotta change my vehicle.
You don't like the short bus?
No, I don't like the short bus.
Me and Sarah just chilling in it. That's what we do. Oh, she just switched to passenger side. I don't think she thought I would notice.
Sit in the back seat. Are we going? Are we just sitting?
I had to grab that self-revive. I thought it was Marcus.
I wasn't sure if we were gonna.
Oh, look, there's a third boss here.
What is this one? Oh, I hate that gun. What is this thing? Shotgun? I don't like shotguns either.
Sorry, I had to eat there real quick.
Hey, you said you were hungry.
Yeah, my stomach is rumbling like crazy. I didn't even have my dinner tonight.
Yeah, you know why though?
Hmm?
'Cause you're laughing too much again.
I was laughing. Funny guy.
Giving your belly a
I know.
workout.
I know, right? Need food.
Need food, yeah, you got it. Pablo, welcome back. Welcome back.
Cushion.
Games are going well. We were not winning, but games are going good.
We won twice, sir.
Games are going good. Did we?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, but from the last time that he left.
We haven't
No,
won.
We won once when he was gone, I think.
Was it? Oh, I
We
thought.
won the first round, and then we won that one where we were in the storm.
Okay, you hear them there. Turn them up so that you can hear them. So you don't just hear my music anymore. You might actually turn off the music.
I have a pizza, guys.
We can just hear the crunching going on. What are you eating?
Pork scratchings. It was just a bag. I finished it though.
Okay.
I had to grab it quick. The hunger is real.
You guys see that? So when you play music, Sean, everybody can hear it?
Yes.
Oh, who's shooting from where?
Up you guys. We got a group incoming.
Nice.
2 groups.
The guy was shooting us, but oh, he got me from somewhere.
Someone shooting me.
I'm out.
Oh, he's from below. He's down below. Ah. GG's.
You're going to sleep, Kishin.
All right. Maybe I can go for one more and then I think I'm gonna call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
You guys want to try our luck in the OG?
Yeah, if you want to go at it. If we die right away, we're playing it again. I'm not gonna give it that.
This is
But
gonna
if,
be again.
no worries, no worries. Shoutouts are good. It's a good way to get our names out there. I should have actually changed my stream title that I was playing with Sarah.
To what?
Oh, I
No,
can't.
it's on squad fill because they don't do trios in OG, but
Oh, that's okay.
yeah.
No worries. Hold on, I'm gonna. Oh, who did that? Sarah. Good thing those don't save yet.
Wait, what?
I didn't even know you did that. You silly. Oh, we're waiting. Port OG. No way. We're not playing the right game here.
What?
No, I'm talking
It
to
says
chat.
win an OG, earn Hope's drone glider.
Is this just squad or is there a trio?
What is Fortnite OG Marvel Endgame?
What?
There, I think the volume is good now.
Oh, they don't have trio.
No.
No, they don't.
Why does
They
it keep
have.
going to OG? I want to do the Marvel one. I don't know what it is.
Stop it. Stop it.
Wait. I have an idea.
No, you're not clipping.
A what?
Nothing.
How, what?
Nothing.
It's the same.
It should be. I don't know. Did it work? Oh, it did. Sarah, you're awesome.
I've still got 4,000. Oh.
Wait, maybe this works. You're awesome. It doesn't work. How come it never works?
It does. I heard it.
What does it say? No, this. Maybe it doesn't hear my voice when I say you're awesome.
Oh, that's
You're
not
awesome.
worked.
I love you.
Oh. What is this then? What is OG again?
From
we're
what
not
I
playing
understand, it's just
OG.
like the older. Yeah, this is
Right?
OG. It's Fortnite
Oh,
OG
okay.
Endgame. It's a Marvel limited time mode.
So I gotta say it slower. You're awesome. I have to change it. Commands. Matchmaking
It
error.
said error.
I've never seen that. Let's do it again.
All right, do it again. You're awesome. There you go. Put your hands up in the air and yay-o. You're awesome.
What?
No,
That didn't redeem.
What do you mean it didn't redeem? Matchmaking error.
Okay, that sucks. Back to I'll go to regular OG, I guess.
You're awesome.
I love you.
There, that worked. So I have to say it slow.
Ah. The Barbie.
The Barbie. Is it gonna go?
Yeah, ready up, Sarah. See if it'll work.
Oh, we were waiting for her. I thought it was just
Sorry.
waiting. No
I'm
problem.
getting tired.
So am I. Like I said, this
Yeah.
is gonna be the last one, right? Unless we die right away.
My eyes are
Oh, the
going.
silence.
I appreciate you guys for both coming out and hanging out and playing tonight.
Oh yeah, of course.
It's fun.
I wasn't expecting Sean, but you know, you got the invite, took it right away. I said, yeah, he's messaging, I'm taking it. Not missing these anymore.
Yeah. All right, we got.
All right, so this one apparently is different, right? Because we're now like this is the original old school weapons.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Everything looks different on it. Even the where our energy bars are.
Okay, OG. I think you just explained that to me. And yeah. Oh yeah, this is the lobby.
So we need to win
Yep.
to Oh, I've never been anywhere here.
Is that
Okay.
not the aim of the game anyway?
Oh, it is yes and no because there's quests that you need to do, right?
No.
In
No,
what?
not in this one, but usually sometimes there's quests, I think.
pretty sure these OG things are just like um, throwbacks to like older seasons. You know,
Oh, okay.
I'm landing on that pirate ship.
I was trying to go there too, but my game is rendering.
Oh, they
Let's
put us in builds.
oh, I didn't even think about that.
It's because of all that swapping back and forth I was doing.
Yeah.
It's my own damn fault.
That's okay, we won. Last time.
Stumbling in. What did I just pick up? What is this thing? Oh, F5. What's F5?
Oh, I jumped off.
What is this? Placing a trap.
If somebody walks on it, it's either it does something like something. Some of them bounce you, some more spike traps. It just kind of depends. Oh, cool, I can shoot a cannon.
Somebody's shooting. Oh, you're shooting.
Shot me.
Yeah, I did. I shot Sarah. For science.
Ad starts in 2 minutes.
Where's the chest?
Here, 30 seconds. Get rid of that ad.
Dual wielding.
If I don't do a 30-second, it's gonna go to like a 3-minute ad or 2-minute ad. It's annoying. There you go. Ad ends in 4 seconds. 3, 2, 1, done. Your community is back. Welcome back, guys. I don't know why I'm collecting wood. Like, I don't know how to build at all on a keyboard. Where it's me, it's quiet in here.
I can't find this.
Whoa. Let's go. Who's this?
People fighting down below.
Yeah.
I'm pushing. Knocked one. Knocked two.
Oh, I broke my legs.
Knocked three.
I need health. I don't know how that happened, but
Not 4.
hey, Sarah,
Yeah.
I didn't hear that.
Not 5. All right. So guys, I killed 6 of them.
Nice.
Yeah, I see that. Thanks.
No, thank you.
Is there any healers over here somewhere? Oh, you're doing good. I fell off the mountain.
Oh, you need this. Wait. I have this. Oh wait.
Surprised I didn't.
Take that as well. So.
Thank you.
I like watching them all drop off as I emote.
What drop off?
Like you can, you know how you can see when I had like 6 people watching me just then. Then I started emoting and they all started leaving.
You're mad.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sarah.
I did kill him with a goofy ass gun.
How many people left? 45.
And I haven't seen one.
No, I haven't seen.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, finish.
Oh.
I saw 6 of them. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, you're a good shooter.
No.
See, it's like crazy. I got so many spam bots coming in here. My thing keeps banning them all. I think they know that I haven't been on in forever, so they're like,
I don't know what Sarah's doing.
Looting.
I forgot there's snipers in this one.
Wait, we need to go this way anyway.
And I got a scoped assault rifle. How do I unscope it?
Not really. I don't remember.
A wintry princess got banned. Nearly 5 a.m. here. I know, it's so late. It's the last one there. It's the last one, Pablo.
There's an orange minigun right here.
An orange. I got a purple one.
Orange one's better.
Legendary. What's this? What's a balloon?
Okay, so if you use them, they attach to your back and they make your jump super high. But if somebody pops them and you're too high up,
You're dead.
crash to the ground and it take fall damage. It kind of sucks. So.
I see. I didn't take it. Because I owe Sarah a pot. I'm not normally up this late anymore. I'm never up that late either.
You're lying.
Who, me?
No, occasion.
Okay. I was gonna say I go to bed at this time.
Careful,
On the
Sarah,
weekend?
people over there.
On the weekend,
I know when they're
I go.
building. Oh, they're actually building. I'm scared. Oh my god, I can't see that far. Help.
Oh, somebody shot me.
Well,
Yeah,
how do
they're
we
shooting
get up
from 2
there?
different angles. I need to
Where's the
back
other
up.
guy coming from? Here.
There's people shooting from over there.
Oh, he
Okay,
got
got
me.
one.
One shot.
Yeah, he had a sniper rifle.
3 angles. There's one in the air coming down. Yeah, I had a sniper too.
Where's that?
Oh, darn. I'm not lying. Don't listen to her.
Ah, one shot.
I believe you.
Wow,
Can you crawl
Mayor,
toward
wow.
me, Sarah?
I'll roll. Oh, you can't roll?
You can't roll in this one.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
Oh shit, they're still fucking looking at me.
Yeah, leave me.
Oh, she was so fucking close. Damn it. All right, you guys calling it?
Yeah, I'm going. My eyes are going.
I understand. I'll catch you next time.
Yeah.
Playing with you guys.
Thank you. If you guys want to hang on tight, I'm just gonna raid somebody too. I'm gonna get out of here and then we can head on out and
Sounds like a plan, man.
you guys are up for it.
Fun.
Thank you for playing.
Hell yeah.
You
I
too.
appreciate you guys.
Hey, good night, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Oh, my phone's dead.
Your phone's dead. 2 minutes, 2 minutes, and then just let me raid.
Bye.
No, if you
Later.
have a good one, mother, media mother. I can't call you mommy because I said there was somebody else I do with that. All right, thanks, Sean. All right, guys, it's just me and you guys now. I'm gonna raid out. If you guys just want to hang out a little bit longer, I want to just find somebody maybe we know and just all get in there together and just, I don't know, maybe somebody we don't know. I'm just looking through the list right now. Maybe there's somebody new. Mother, you got to get on someday. I wanna catch you too. I don't know. I don't see anybody else that I know that from where we've all met. But I can give this one a try and maybe she's fun. I think I met her in the same spot. We all actually here. I'm gonna go raid out to this guy who was playing Fortnite, and I met him through. Yeah, it would be great. We should keep in touch. Chat with me over there. You know where it is. I do appreciate you coming in, hanging out, and being out here as long as you did. It's super fun just getting to know people a little bit better. I know we were playing Fortnite, and this is the first time I've streamed this game in a long time too. So I'm glad that it all worked out. But you silly. So I'm gonna raid out to Failed Reality. I think it'll be fun. He's got some people in there. It'll be my first time in there with him. And we'll go from there. But again, I appreciate you guys all. If you guys need to find me, you know where to find me. We'll chat again. And we'll go from there. We'll talk to you guys all later. Appreciate you. Bye.